All right. Welcome back, everyone, to another
Sheesh.
episode of
Continue.
Cardboard Hands. We're here again. My name is Josh from the old card shop. This is we from the Flex Gods. We're just hanging out, talking some TCG action here. I just got back from Texas, so I apologize if I was dark on any of the social medias for anyone. I was literally driving across country for we'll say 5 of the last 7 days, which was quite an experience. How you been, man?
Good. Just chilling. Same old, same old,
Yeah,
How was the trip?
it was really cool being able to drive across country though and get that perspective. We went out to go to LeonHart's pop-up shop out in Dallas, and it was myself and my girlfriend, and I decided it would be kind of fun to rather than fly out, just drive to kind of make the journey. Had a couple stops along the way. We actually drove Route 66, so that was kind of fun. I don't know how historic it really is anymore, but it's a big highway across the country. So that was kind of a cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but really interesting though. I definitely say that getting to Texas, it felt like going to not just a different state, but coming from California, it felt like a different world or something, a different country. But I guess I definitely want to say first and foremost, thank you to LeonHart. If for some small reason were to watch, thank you for putting on the event, because I would say I drove across country for this event, and I've heard a lot of chatter and stuff. I want to say first and foremost, I had a very good time. I would understand a lot of the mixed reviews that I've heard from some people, but from my experience, I had a really, really good time at the event. I wish we could have somehow figured out a way to get you to go as well. I think you would have really had a really good time there too.
Dude, I know. I wish I could have gone.
So,
But
so from what I've kind of heard from a lot of people, is a lot of the content creators or people who are sort of already interacting with people in the sphere, maybe not even content creators, but people who have been interacting a lot, had a lot of fun meeting other people, because that was the core of my experience. I would say that I went for the experience of the community and the meeting people. And so I guess, yeah, let's just get into how the event went. I definitely want to, because I don't think we've specifically not talked about how the event went. I didn't tell you what my experience was. I said, oh yeah, it was cool, dude. Let's talk about it live. So I guess
yeah.
from Saturday, just forget my journey to get there. That was crazy in and of itself. I've heard a lot of people say I traveled from X, Y, or Z. I understand, guys. I also did. It was crazy, but that was my choice too. So anyway, so Saturday of the event. Let's see. We'll start from when I get to the event. From let's just say I don't ever get to things on time. People who watch my stream, they'll know that my stream will start at a certain time and it'll be pushed back an hour or so, a couple times possibly. So I ended up getting there around 9:45, maybe 9:50, and so the event started. Technically, the check-in at 9 a.m. So I felt like I was late, because by the time I walked up, basically it was in this deep Ellum, which is deep Dallas, downtown Dallas, really historic part of Dallas, really cool little bougie downtown area, a lot of cool nightclubs and bars I was walking by. But this venue was basically a concert hall, big concert hall, a very historic one called the Factory, that they had, when I even walked up to the event, driving up to kind of park, because I actually rented a car and we drove, and so I parked, and basically when we get there was literally a line around the building to get in at 9:45. So I was a little bit worried, but I was
How
talking,
long was
hey
it?
guys, how's it going? What's up?
How long was the line? How many people you think?
Oh gosh, literally probably hundreds, probably 200, 300. It was, so if the building was,
Sheesh.
I think the size of I don't know, man, 2 3 Taco Bell, fast food joints put together, 4 Taco Bells. I don't know how to describe. I was gonna say a small Walmart, but that would be not a Walmart. That's not a good description, I guess. I have no size relevance. I don't know how to make a good. So anyway, this it was wrapped around the whole event. And so I was walking past people, but I was asking people what they're waiting for. They said general admission. And so this is one thing about the event that should have maybe been a little bit more distinguished, was the difference between general admission tickets and VIP tickets. And I think there was also a level of tickets where you weren't VIP, you were general admission, but you still got a pack. But a lot of the people waiting, it was all general admission. So I had a VIP ticket, which I paid extra for because I was driving once again cross country. I didn't want to wait in line. Really, really good decision, honestly. I would highly recommend in the future, if anyone is sort of making a long journey, I'm also going to take my own advice because I sort of didn't know if this was going to be a good decision or not. But pay for that extra VIP, experience to skip the lines. If you could ever skip lines, lines suck, man. Lines will ruin a whole event. I feel like if you, no matter how cool the event is, if you end up standing in line the whole event, there's no way you're gonna have a good time. So I thought about that and I got the VIP, and I'm glad now in retrospect that I did, because I skipped right ahead, went right in. You once again, you get in a great event. I would say LeonHart first and foremost for putting it together safely. I appreciate that. Someone coming from out of town, every single person had to have either a full vax card or a negative COVID test to get in. So you got to go show one of those to the whatever security guard. They check you in.
Mm-hmm.
And so you already know right off the bat that's kind of safe because they're sort of sticklers about it. At least they were at my entrance. So that was nice. I
Yeah.
appreciated that at least a little bit. I don't know, without getting too much into the politics or whatever, but it's so you walk in there, and the event in the beginning of the day, there weren't a ton of people there. Like I walked in right 9:45. The upstairs entrance was sort of around the back where the VIPs were supposed to enter, and it was all dark, but there was like artificial campfires and light up things, LEDs going on the wall with like Pokemon themes. So there's like a Pac-Man, and a I don't know, a bunch of like pinball machines, vintage video games, a bar. So it's a cool little vibe. I literally immediately walked in and heard people screaming Charizard. And so it was right when
Mm-hmm.
Basic Trainer pulled the Charizard was when I walked in. So he pulled it relatively early. There was a guy,
Oh, okay.
the only guy who pulled a base set Charizard. And there's I guess
Sheesh.
it was a pretty big deal because, well, obviously the only one of the day. But right when I walked in, that was when that happened. So I was feeling pretty good because I thought, okay, if Charizard was pulled now, if I go down there, get in line, get my pack, I can maybe have a chance of getting another Charizard, right? So I didn't really spend much time looking at much of the events. I just went and got in line because I just wanted to get that out of the way, sort of get my pack. I didn't know how the situation with going up and live streaming your pack was going to be. So I went down the stairs. You go into this kind of concert downstairs hall where there were once again not very many people in there at this point because it was still pretty early on. They were only letting in the VIPs at this point, very few general admission, I believe. And you see Veronica Taylor's booth, which she was the original voice of Ash Ketchum. So she was
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, she was there, standing there, doing autographs and stuff at her booth. So she's right there when you go down. Once again, another bar. So there were bars like along either side.
Oh,
Upstairs,
damn, for real.
downstairs. But I did hear that some people were having issues getting food. I think later on in the event, that was one thing that the food let. I didn't eat anything while I was there, though. I ate breakfast before, and I was planning on eating afterwards. So I wasn't going to the event to eat personally. So I didn't hear much about that while I was at the event. So we get downstairs, I go right to the line. I start asking around like, hey, where do you go to the VIP like one, show them my ticket experience for the pack opening. I see there's a long line of people already lined up just in the morning because everyone else had the same idea. And so I hopped in line. The line was already starting to wrap around the venue. So I kind of looked at all of the stuff as I was going to the line and going to the back of the line and going through the line. Ended up probably standing there, I'd say for a good hour and a half, though. It was a long line. I won't sugarcoat it. Like a lot of the first part of that event for me was spent standing in line, talking to the people surrounding me. I actually did an interview with Channel 8 News while I was standing in line because I was chilling there with my Magikarp hat, and people were going with like cameras and microphones, and they're interviewing different people. So I talked to the guy in front of me. I was live streaming a certain point of it. I'm sure some people who are watching here were in the live stream. I was only doing it for about 30 minutes though, because my phone literally started dying probably 2 hours into the event. So stood in line, live stream a little bit, talking, waiting. Met the guy behind me, a guy named Nalter Cards. I believe he has a channel here on YouTube as well. Really, really cool guy. He was the guy who ended up pulling the only base set Charizard of the day. Small fun fact.
Oh, okay.
Right behind me. So I was right one.
That's rough.
So close, right? So that's a whole
Yeah.
nother thing. But I talked to him for a while. Really, really cool. I was like live streaming. I was like, hey man, I'm sorry. I'm trying not to get you in my live stream. I'm just, he's like, dude, I don't mind. I got a channel. It's no big deal. I was like, oh, okay. Well, on that point, here, come at it.
Yeah.
He was cool though. Met a couple of his friends he was with. A couple people came up and found me as well. That dude, it's a trip. This is my first public Pokemon trip, like since I've re-entered the hobby, because like I've gone to card shops and stuff. I haven't been since like the shutdown to a big convention or anything.
Yeah.
And a couple people came up and found me, which was really, really weird. And I said hi, and it was nice to meet some of those people for the first time I've been interacting with for over a year at this point. So cool to meet some really nice people while I was there. But definitely a lot of time so spent in line in the beginning of the event. Talked to a lot of people around me. I didn't notice as much of the time. I of course would have wished that it was like I went right to the front, grabbed a base set pack. By the time I got to the front of the line, all of the base set packs were taken. And mind you, I was in the VIP experience. So I can understand. I was thinking that being in that VIP level, there would be sort of like base set packs set aside. But once again,
that makes sense.
that wasn't specified, and that was just an assumption. So I wasn't really upset when I got up. I actually like base set 2. I lightweight like base set 2 Charizard better than the base set Charizard. I actually believe it's a lower population in PSA.
I think it's probably lower pop, honestly.
Not
it's
that
probably
I don't know if that
lower
means
pop.
much because it's like base set 2, but
I'm curious. I'm gonna look it up. Anyways, keep talking. I'm just gonna look
it up.
I'm
so
really
after
curious.
I go up, I go in. So you get your pack, you go into the little. So when you wait in line, you go all the way around the event waiting in line. So you kind of get to watch and look at the small. It wasn't the biggest venue. It wasn't like. I mean, it was big, but it wasn't like huge. And so you go to the inside the pop-up shop, and he's got basically all these packs on the wall and all these packs on the counter, underneath the counter, and people working it. It was really cool to walk in, merch and everything. You pick your pack. They put a number on it. They give you a lanyard. They stamp your hand, and then they give you like a number on the lanyard. And so then you walk to another line behind the scenes. It's like the get ready to stream line. And then you go and walk and wait in that line for, I'd say that one was about 20 minutes for me. Jeez. So it was a much shorter line, but it was still significant.
Okay, really quick, the pops are, so total for base set is 30,000 graded. Total for base set 2 graded is 5,700.
And what are the 10s in that? Do you see the 10s?
Yeah, I got you. 10s, 57 in base set 2, and then 447 in just regular base set. And then nines we have 870 in base set 2, and then there's 6,065 in base set.
That's significantly lower. That's
dude, it's crazy.
Yeah, so
honestly,
that's what I was telling people. It's like if I got a base set 2, and I think base set 2, they even had leftover base set 2 at the end of the event because nobody wanted it. People were going for Team Rocket before base set 2, which to me is wild. But anyway, so after you get your pack, you wait in line for another 20 minutes or so in like the smaller, like dark hallway. It's a very dark. So I will say that part, I don't know if it was intentional, but it felt like it was the Zubat dark cave, of the event where you go in, you need to have a screech or flash or whatever to be able to see in the cave. Anyway, super dark in that area where you're standing in line. You go up to the front, then you show them your number on the lanyard that they gave you in the pop shop. This is to make it so you can't walk away with your pack. So this is how they ensured that you couldn't really walk away with your pack. And so they didn't give it to you until you literally are about to go onto the stage. And so you show the number. Okay. They match up the number that was on the pack that they gave you. You go take it and put it up, put it in your hand, and you go walk up on stage with probably 5 to 7 other people. And you go up and they're streaming and everyone's kind of it was live, the event. I'm sure some people probably were able to watch it who are listening to this, but did you see any of the live streams or anything from it?
No, I didn't watch it all.
Okay, so yeah, they were live streaming the whole thing, just the stage part. Really lit up with like LeonHart's, bright logo, with the 90's pop shop, all the teal and turquoise and cool colors or whatever. I think I have the bag here somewhere. Yeah, okay, so yeah, there we go. So there's the bag. But so yeah, you go up and it was really a short. I ended up opening my base set 2 and getting a Pokemon breeder, so that was cool. But Yeah, so it's pretty short experience of just going up, and they go to
Yeah.
each person. They showed you opening the pack, so they gave every single person, like, at least in the case of when I went up on there, because they did this to myself and the person next to me. They kind of showed everyone's pack, and kind of Super Duper Danny was up there. She talked to me and said, "Hey, how's it going?" After the camera went by,
Mhm.
and they were all really nice in my experience. I will say I didn't get to meet Pat Flynn. That was a big one that I really wish I would have met. I just, like, he was up there in the beginning, and like I just got so busy that I didn't get a chance to go and like hunt him down like I would have liked to. Other people I just
Yeah.
kind of ran into, but I didn't end up running into him, and that was unfortunate because I really would have loved to just shake his hand and be like, or just say, "Hey man, thanks for putting out the good content," because I've actually been consuming a lot of his content lately, his
Yeah, he's the
about
homie. He
podcasting in
edits really
general.
good too. He knows what's up and he knows how to beat the algorithm. He knows how to do what he needs to do to
He's a savvy guy. Like, as
Yep.
far as like his Pokemon content is concerned, I like it. I like it a lot. I think it occupies a good sphere in the space that really is needed in this hobby. That isn't, he does a lot of really niche kind of cool things. Like, I love his video on like how to damage PSA cards and versus BGS cards and CGC. He like stress tested the different slabs, showed how much
Mhm.
force you needed to kind of get that little corner ding to happen. I
Yeah.
thought it was a really, really cool video, and he does all kinds of stuff like that. So shout out to Pat Flynn. But just aside from that, like his other content about podcasting, like you said, beating the algorithm, just smart business, savvy business decisions, really, really great, great content creator. So one of my biggest regrets is not chasing him down and like finding him at the event, because that's probably one of the only times I'll be able to do this, honestly, with Pat Flynn. But maybe we'll run into each other again, and I can say thanks for what you do. I'm sure he gets it all the time though. So
Mhm.
I just I'm sure he would appreciate knowing that someone feels that way. I'm sure he seems like a good enough guy.
Are you gonna go to Collecticon, like the next ones, like the ones nearby?
Yeah, I'm gonna probably go to the California Long Beach one, and I'm thinking, because I know a lot of people going to Denver. I'm considering going to Denver as well.
Denver's a move. I'll see you at both of them.
For sure, we
So,
gotta do something. That would be
dude, it'll be dope. And honestly, at the conventions, there's so many moves. Like, there's so many plays to be made.
I'm thinking one of them I might get a booth, maybe the Long Beach one, because I have a friend who lives in Mojave, which is probably like 45 minutes out from Long Beach. So I could realistically kind of set up shop, and I could get a table and
Yeah, dude, that'd
potentially
be sick.
have like a banner. That'd be kind of cool. But I feel like whenever I'd end up working an event, I end up not being able to experience it to the full extent.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening with that. So let's
Yeah.
see. So after we'll get back to the pop-up shop here, because now that I've opened the pack, this is for me when the event really opened up. So honestly, right after I opened the pack, I felt a huge weight off my shoulder. So I can understand a lot of people, if you ended up getting there a little later, maybe you're in general admission, you end up spending a lot longer waiting. Because I still spent a fair amount of time waiting, at probably about hour and a half, 2 hours total. But I've heard stories of people at the event waiting 3 to 5 hours to get their pack and essentially get there and only have the option of base set 2 and jungle, which to me,
Sheesh.
base set 2, once again, I like base set 2, but so that was one of the takes I've heard on it. So once I finished with the experience of opening the pack, so that experience, that was the least exciting part for me. I felt a huge weight off my shoulder. I immediately went and started kind of looking around, talking to people. I ran into Gym Mint Pokemon Zach. Just right, I went to the bar to get a drink of water, and he was standing there, just talking to some folks. I heard his voice. Do you know Gym Mint Pokemon? You know of him?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know Gem.
Amazing, amazing guy. But I didn't really know what he looked like so much, because he's more of, you hear him, I feel like. And so I heard his voice while I was getting water, and I looked over, I was like, "Hey, are you Gym Mint Pokemon?" And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "Yeah, man, I am." I was like, "Oh,
That's so funny.
dude, what's up? Hey, I'm a big fan. I love what you do in the hobby. I followed you for a while, blah, blah." I'm sure stuff that everyone says to him, but he was such a genuinely nice guy. I ended up talking to him for a while and telling him about this pack that did I tell you I had that jungle case that was all error, every hollow that we pulled out of the unlimited.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You did tell me about that.
Yeah, so I ended up telling him that I was opening it because he loves Jolteon, right? And I also, that Jolteon from jungle, and that's one that I've been chasing for a no symbol And so we ended up talking about that for a while, but really cool guy. And I talked to the guys who run Collecticon too. So speaking of Collecticon, and I mentioned I would end up going to one of their events. So they were nice to meet. I then just started meeting like hella different people. Like I ran into this guy who you may know in the community, Peak Dat Chew. Anyway, he doesn't make content, but he's everywhere. I feel like I'm gonna have him on my channel at some point just because he's a fun guy to talk to. But I ran into him. When I ran into him, I ran into Pokey Knowledge as well, which Pokey Knowledge is a great guy.
I owe him a live stream. I feel really bad. I still owe him one. I need
Yeah,
to
we
hit
won't
him up.
tell him. We won't tell him we did this. We'll pretend like you've been under a rock or whatever. But
No,
Pokey
I got
Knowledge,
you.
shout out, great guy.
If Poke Knowledge, if you watch this, just bug me and I'll do it. I'm just really bad at scheduling stuff.
All right, you heard it here. It's on record and it's on. We're recording, right? Yes. Okay, good. I am recording, so that's good. Yeah. So Pokey Knowledge, I ran into him. I also met Not Shivam, which was really cool. Not Shivam, he makes a lot of IG content. Really, really cool collector. Really kind of, I feel like he's really fashionable, like in the Pokemon sense. He's always got like really colorful Pokemon shirts on and stuff, and I think that's pretty funny. So I recognize him right away. So
yeah, he makes really good content. With Yizzy too. I know Yizzy too. Yizzy,
oh yeah,
they're homies. Was he there?
I didn't see him. He might have been there, but he wasn't running around with Shivam, and I didn't see him. So I mean, I met so many people there, man. Like I'm forgetting tons of people I know, but it's like every time I would start talking to someone, I would talk to them for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'd turn around, and someone would hear me talking, and they'd be like, "Hey, like." You're so and so, or I'd be like, oh, you're Pokemon Radar, right? Yeah, dude, what's up? And so like I just ended up every time I would finish talking to one person, sort of naturally running into someone else in the hobby that I was wanting to talk to or meet over the last, I don't know. I re-entered the hobby in 2019, hardcore, like in the community, as it were. Like I publicly started making content in January of 2020. And so like before that though, I was already really interactive in the community for a long time, for about a whole year, really, really heavily. I've been collecting since I was 8 years old, but like as with a lot of people, you get in and out of it, right? And so
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Hidden Fates, that's why I love Hidden Fates so much, is it dragged me back in. I won't say kicking and screaming, but maybe a little bit.
Hidden Fates.
You know it. I think you're the same story. I think that was
yeah, exactly. Too, right? I literally chased this card for eternity, dude.
Yeah. I remember when I got that, I was kind of like, all right, I felt once again huge weight off my shoulder when I got that Charizard. I haven't even finished the whole set yet.
I feel that. I gave up. I literally was like, I spent like $1,000 on it, and I was like, dude, this sucks, because I didn't get the Charizard. Best card I got was the Umbreon, and then I was like, all right, I give up. And then I gave up, and then one day I picked a random box. Well, I told my girlfriend to pick a random box because I gave up, so I had a bunch of seal just chilling in my room, and I was like, we should just open one. And then of course she picks one, and then we open it, and it's the Charizard. And then I sent it off to get graded, and I got a 10. So it's like, I don't know, it just works in weird ways like that.
Yeah, I've never pulled one for myself. I've pulled 4 of them though, but all for other people.
Yeah. On the like live streams and stuff.
Yeah, on my Whatnot. One of them was actually before I was even on Whatnot. I pulled it when I was on Instagram. I think this one was Facebook Live actually.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Back in the day. Yeah, I didn't start off on Whatnot. I started off doing Instagram, Facebook. I wanted to do YouTube, but at the time that I made my YouTube channel, you had to have 1,000 followers to go live.
Yeah.
And so there was a time where that wasn't the case, but I think that something happened where someone did something in a live stream that they needed to be like, all right.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
And I totally understand too. So I ended up doing it on Facebook a lot in those like private groups, ripping ships and whatnot. And that's what I started on before I actually officially started on Whatnot, when around Battle Styles came out. So yeah, I pulled 4 of those Charizards, but never for myself. I bought one though. I ended up buying one when they dipped down to like 265. I think I saw them going below 300, and I tried to lowball and negotiate until I could get one for even better than that. And I think I got it for like 265. It's not perfect centering. It's a binder copy. I'm not a PSA 10 collector. I'm more of just like a binder collector if I really like something or want something.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, honestly. Do you know if they're reprinting Hidden Fates?
I don't believe so. Okay, I would take one.
Yeah, someone was saying that, and I'm like, do I believe? I don't know. There's always rumors about everything. So I'm like, you're the homie to go to because I know you at least know. You know what I mean? I know you know.
I
So
would love it. I would be the first one to know because I'm always hoping. Like my fingers and toes are constantly crossed. I've kept one during this whole stream crossed just for a Hidden Fates reprint. I always do. I sleep with them crossed. And
mhm.
so I'm always I would think I'm the first one to know about Hidden Fates reprints, but no.
Okay.
Sometimes when I want to, when I feel like getting a laugh, I ask my distributor if there's going to be Champions Path or Hidden Fates or Shining Fates reprints.
Mm-hmm.
It's
No.
always good to get a laugh, but yeah.
That's funny,
But
dude.
yeah, anyway, so we after I would say probably about 2-3 hours of straight up just talking to people, it was almost 4 or 5 o'clock by the time I started just becoming just like tired, just straight up tired from like
Yeah.
all the day and everything. Because you guys think about it, I started probably at like 9 o'clock, and before that getting ready and everything, and we had gotten in the night before, so I went back to the hotel. My girlfriend and I, we went out and had a nice dinner in Dallas. That was super cool. Um, Ended up having a really chill experience. We left the next day. We went
Mm-hmm.
to the JFK museum and did some like downtown historical Dallas stuff on the way to town because I just kind of something that I think is fun. I like
Yeah.
going to like museums and stuff when I'm in a town. I'll definitely be going back to Dallas though. I will say after going there, because I've been there before. Have you ever have you been to like Dallas and done something there?
No, I've went to Dallas and went to the Dallas card show.
So that sounds fun, but I'm sure you feel like you're like, I haven't done anything. I felt like with this event, I didn't do it, but the next day, like Sunday, like we went and had breakfast and then like, went did the JFK thing and then drove around
Hmm.
downtown. I felt like we got a good Dallas experience. I got my
That's
biscuits
cool.
and gravy. So,
Sheesh. Yeah.
I needed my southern biscuits and gravy while I was out there. Had some queso. Texas love, but love that queso. But I definitely feel like after like in retrospect, like after I've come back and I've thought about the event and like thought about my
Hmm.
experience with the event, I really had a great time. Like for
Yeah.
myself, I got a lot out of it. Like I met a lot of people, I made a lot of experiences, a lot of memories. I feel like I won't forget this. Um, and maybe it was because of how far I had to travel that it really left an impact on me. It's like I was not to hell if I was going to have a bad time, I guess. There was probably no way that I would. So I guess maybe that's a thing. Like, if you went into it with a less positive mentality, more of a neutral, I will say I was very biased. I was very
Hmm.
determined to have a good time.
Dude, that's how
So
I feel about every event. So I feel you on that. Like I'm not gonna go to like another state and just be like, bro, this sucks. My life is over. You know what I mean?
that's yeah, so that's kind of that was my take on it too. So I can understand people feeling the way they do because here I do want to read now. So now with that out of the way, with my experience, I want to say I had a great experience. I had a really positive experience. There were some bumps and little things along the way, like but I would say overall positive.
Yeah.
That being said, I do want to read LeonHart's public statement about the event itself because he actually, I think it was last night, came out on YouTube in the community section and posted a good like chunk, like a paragraph. So let
Hmm.
me try to pull that up here because it was a mouthful, and I think it says a lot about how he's feeling and the community's feeling and his sort of the I don't know the criticisms he's been getting. So Leonhart, one day ago at this point, it says, "Hey everyone," period, not exclamation point, not his
Jeez.
typical "Hey everyone." I've been taking the past day to take in all the constructive criticism from over the weekend, and I wanted to thank everyone that shared great input on things that logistically could have gone better from the pop-up. While I also have a video coming out this week, which will be discussing how the pop-up went, which will be the first video back from the pop-up that I've done. I wanted to initially let you know that for those who did not have a good time at the event due to logistics done through the venue, that I am very sorry that happened to you. I accept full responsibility in making sure I listen to you so that I understand what went wrong and make sure it doesn't happen again. While I'll be discussing stuff more in a video soon, I wanted to initially come out ahead of time to say thank you for understanding, and I'm very sorry about any troubles you had at the event. And that was it. That was all he said. That is his only public response after the event.
Mm-hmm.
How do you take that?
I don't know, honestly, because basically from my experience of like the negativity of the events, I just because I'll browse like Facebook looking like on the marketplace and stuff like that. So then it's like you go through all the Facebook groups. So that's what I've seen the most. And I saw a bunch of people taking pictures there, but then there are a lot of people arguing like being bummed about things. But I don't know.
So
I
I initially didn't feel any of that negativity at the event.
What are most people bummed on? What do you think most people are bummed on? Because I don't even have a great picture of what people are bummed on.
So I initially with my when I was at the event, I actually did while I was on my phone. I ironically I was at the event. I watched the live stream at the event on my phone in the very beginning just to see how it was looking. I want to see what other people because I want to see what other everyone, you guys, and the people who couldn't make it were seeing. And so I was watching it, and so it was it felt like people were just like, that this looks lame, like these packs aren't real, they're not enough heavies, blah blah blah,
These
because
bags are
there's like
fake.
7 or 8, it's like typical like not real light, whatever.
Yeah, he weighed every single pack.
Yeah, so there's that. And so
Dude, that's
did
funny.
that's why the live stream got taken down, the chat in the live stream, because of that. It wasn't because of any nefarious anything, because if you go back and watch the live stream from the event, the live chat is removed. And so it got to a certain point so toxic, not from people in the event, but from people in the live stream
Yeah,
that weren't at the event, just commenting on the validity of the packs. I
just
can
homies
tell you for a
trolling and
fact the
stuff.
packs were real. I've
Yeah.
opened packs for a living. Like I these are real packs. Like I opened a pack while I was there. I saw other people open them. Like I saw people, the guy behind me pulled Charizard. Like, so I mean, so that I thought initially was, oh, it's just online trolls. But then after
Yeah.
the fact on Twitter, I did go and I read a lot because I didn't want, I don't, you don't want, if you had a really good time, you don't want to think that someone else had a bad time. Like, so, but I understand that that can happen. So I definitely want to hear that, and I want those people to be able to have that platform to talk about it. I think it's okay to have a bad time at an event other people had good times at. I think that's okay, and to talk about it. So I went to read some of these experiences that people are having. And from my thought, the people who are the most vocal and who had the worst time were those who stood in line the longest and didn't
Mm,
already know anyone, or didn't, or maybe I don't know, because like I feel like if you went and if you didn't have the experience that I described, like I said, I got my pack opening and that was the main part of the event. That was the part that I was least excited about. That was when I felt the event started, was when the main part was over. So like if you went for the event, I felt like it would have been a letdown. But here's the reality, like for $175, which I paid, I could go online and buy a base set pack for that price and get it shipped to my door to open it. And so like for me, I don't feel like the pack was the main reason why I went and paid money to go. I went for the event and the chance to be
yeah.
in a safe environment with people that I'd been interacting with, and kind of in a really fun, positive, like Pokemon kind of environment. So for my outlook, I thought it was a success. But so from someone else's outlook though, who maybe just went for the main advertise. So I think the main people who are the issue is the to put it into short terms, even though we've already gone for probably 20 minutes here about this, to put it into short terms, over advertised, undersold, or oversold, under delivered.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I feel like that's a little bit unfair. I do feel like that's a little unfair, though I do believe that people have a right to feel that way. I personally think that's a little unfair criticism. But that's the general consensus of the main negative. I don't want to call it negativity, but I've heard some people say that because of it they're going to stop supporting him, they're never going to. But I feel like
Sheesh.
that's really extreme. Like, wow.
That's kind of
Because
funny.
I mean, from what I know, it seemed like people who were there were having a good time. Like,
I think it's what you make it at the end of the day. That's how I feel, but I don't know.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on right now in the hobby. I feel like there's just a ton, and with that event, there was so much like anticipation leading up to it, that I think that depending on where you were at or what you're expecting from it, to me, what it made me excited for was going to another event.
Yeah, no, that's
It didn't
dope.
have to be that event. So what I really did enjoy was that event. Unlike, so I've been to many conventions before, just not since I've re-entered the hobby publicly. I've been to many card conventions before, and I will say that was nothing like any event I've ever been to. It felt like a Pokemon Renaissance fair. Like I've been to lots of little like Renaissance fair pop-up shops, like because I'm a geek. I like that kind of stuff. And like a lot of them, they're not really big events. They're just like, in a small little uh I don't know, like a high school football field, and there's like a couple booths. And it felt like a small time Pokemon Renaissance fair indoors in this event. And it was just a really cool event because it didn't feel like people were trying to sell you anything. Oh, they had like $80 booster boxes. People were going to town on $80 flat, like no tax, Fusion Strike,
Jeez.
Chilling Reign booster boxes. At one point, someone was making it rain Fusion Strike booster boxes or booster packs from the top. Just like this guy, Nostalgic Thrill, is another streamer on Whatnot, one of my contemporaries, as it were. Really great guy. I met him as well in person finally. He's up from Northern California, where I'm from, which I didn't realize. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to hook up with him sometime and do something. But yeah, he was like throwing out packs from the top, so that was kind of funny. It just had really good energy the entire event.
Yeah.
And I know after the event, a lot of people went out and like partied and stuff. I'm too old for that. My back is hurting, at that point. I'm in my 30s at this point, so like, I can't go party like I used to. But
Yeah, no, I feel that. Trade night.
yeah, it was cool though. I'm excited for another event. I will say that what it did do was it made me excited for the next one. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, hey, what's up? Long Beach, definitely going to Long Beach because that's in my state. What about Denver? I'm thinking about Denver. Do you know when Denver is?
I haven't checked the dates. I'm gonna look at them now. I'm not going to the Florida one. I'm tempted, but I don't think it's worth it for me. You know what I mean?
I was I was talking in my Discord, a little tongue in cheek, but I said that Texas was pretty crazy for me, like going all the way to Texas. But
Here, watch. You ready? So Dallas is May 28th.
okay,
Long Beach is August 20th.
definitely going.
Kansas, Charlotte is June 4th. And then Kansas City is September 17th, and Denver is October 15th.
Oh, Denver's for sure.
Yeah, so that's the sitch. I'm gonna hit Dallas. Well, I need to start prepping for that. February, March, April.
We stayed right downtown. It was pretty nice. Like I'd probably stay, I don't know, a little closer to the event. We were 10 minutes away from the event, which felt like really close. But like when you're, 4 states away, 5 states away, 10 minutes feels really close. But when you're in the same town, it felt like a little farther. So
Yeah.
I would say really close if I were you to wherever your event is. That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I'm down. But
yeah, Denver
anyways,
for sure.
yeah, dude. It'll be fun, honestly. Denver and Long Beach, I will see you there.
So did you make any big pickups in this last week, or you anything exciting in your cardboard collecting journey in this last week? I feel like I've been out of the loop from everything. When I came back, my PO box was just loaded down with boxes. I still have boxes. I'm unloading some stuff, but do you make any big moves here?
Yeah, I traded for this. So right here, can you see it?
That? Oh my gosh,
7.5 Michael Jordan Fleer rookie.
that's pretty dope. Like I don't know anything about sports, but Michael Jordan, I think you were talking about wanting that card beforehand, right?
Yeah, Jordan is the GOAT. This is pretty much first edition Charizard for basketball. You know what I mean?
Casually throw up Jordan. Is that a rookie card?
Yeah, it is.
So are the only sports cards that are really worth a lot of money rookie cards?
It's either rookies or like crazy like Jordan. A lot of different Jordan cards are worth a lot, but then also a lot of Jordan cards are like worth nothing. Like the base card, like from the 90s, is worth nothing. It's worth like a couple bucks. But then it's crazy inserts. There's some inserts where like the 90s inserts are like insane. You know what I mean?
So when did they start doing so?
Because they were inserted one and
so when inserts and like serialized cards, that wasn't always around because I actually collected with my dad sports cards from 1993 or 4 is when I remember those cards in my collection starting to really pop up, to probably 96 or so. Or 97 even.
Yeah.
And then immediately when Pokemon came out, even in Japanese, I started getting more into that. I was into Beanie Babies at the time too, much to my father's dismay. So I started
Mhm.
shifting away. But when I was collecting sports, there weren't any of those like crazy like jersey things or stamps or like the piece of the cleat in the card, or
Oh yeah.
it was all just like really normal looking. Like I remember Upper Deck, Tops, Fleer, really like that card, that Jordan you pulled up. I specifically remember that card. Like I remember the cards looking like that. But when did they start doing those inserts or those crazy like chrome 1 of 100 or whatever? Do you
I
know?
know they just started doing Chrome cards in like I want to say like 94. I don't know the exact dates, but I know Kobe's rookie year they had a numbered parallel for his stuff. And
So
so
this is a 93. Hold on. It's a Marvel Spider-Man card from it's a Skybox Marvel 1993 apparently, and this is like a chrome, like a foily. This is really chrome compared to like the age. I don't remember this stuff, but I got this recently. Just picked it up randomly, but I don't
it,
remember that being around. So I guess when I was a kid, I was not collecting the right stuff.
I think the whole basically it's like 89, it's like early 90s to like mid, like even I want to say like even to like the 2000s, it's like almost junk era stuff unless you like bought the certain right things. And I think most of the stuff that's like crazy is like 96 plus, like because even Kobe rookie, dude, Kobe rookies, like Kobe's one of the goats and his rookie cards are like $30. You know what I mean?
So
For like his
when is his rookie? Is he 96?
he's 96, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But
So
like
I
all his base
for
rookies are like
1996 in my cards.
what's up?
I need to look through 1996,
Look through
that era
1996.
of
Yeah.
basketball.
1997. Look for Tim Duncan,
Oh yeah.
Garnett, Ray Allen, Steve Nash. Who else? Like all those types of players. You know what I mean? If you have crazy inserts of those, like there's one insert, it's like, oh, or if you get refractors, like the silvers are actually pretty rare. The base cards they made so many of, but refractors, at least there's some sort of like rarity to it. But that's on the Topps Chrome cards. You know what I mean?
So sports has been doing this for a long time, doing these like numbered, and I wonder when we would consider like the boom of the sports craze in the 90s to have happened. I don't know. I was around during it, but I was a child. So
Mhm.
I don't know exactly when those dates line up, but I wonder when that boom and bust really happened. But they've been doing it for a while then, huh?
Yeah, they've
And
been
there's a
doing it
lot of
for a minute.
chatter right now. This is actually a good conversation to have because I in my Discord have been having a ton, or just been I've been so interacting a little bit, but I've been watching a lot of other people talk about like serialized cards in the hobby, and a lot of them are sort of talking because MetaZoo's doing it. They just partnered with Tops, and they're doing it with their like box toppers, and so a lot of people in the Pokemon community have been talking a lot about serialized cards, especially because Magic the Gathering is doing it now.
Yeah.
It's confirmed Magic has started doing serialized cards in their Secret Lair
Sheesh.
product. I think
Hmm.
you and I were talking about this a little bit right before the podcast,
Yeah.
and we're like, all right, let's record this though, because we were talking about Secret Lairs, and because I think a lot of people are waiting and seeing what's happening in Magic the Gathering to say like what, and this Pokemon company included, to see what will happen with like numbered cards or inserts. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, Magic has been experimenting with this recently with serialized numbered cards in their secret lair, which is basically a FOMO inducing 1 to 2 week. I think it's a 1 week period, maybe a 2 week period of each month when they release a monthly themed secret lair of about 5 to 10 cards. Typically, you have a chance to buy these cards directly from Wizards of the Coast. You pre-order them, and then they print to demand, however people order during that short period of time, and they ship those cards out to people like 6 months to a year later. So
Hmm.
essentially, people in the Magic community feel very one way or the other towards secret lairs. First of all, Wizards of the Coast has never directly printed cards and sold cards to their customers. What they've typically done is printed booster packs, sold booster packs to their distributors or to their customers, and then had them distribute those packs and sell singles. And so, first of all, a few years ago, when they started doing this secret lair thing, it was highly, highly controversial because it felt like Wizards of the Coast was sort of removing the middleman and taking away some of the the revenue that small games, I mean, a small game store, a lot of what they make is in singles, especially in the Magic the Gathering department. I do want to on this channel talk a lot, and maybe one day have someone like Mason from Cardinal Gaming, or another small game shop owner, maybe a local one that we could talk to on to talk about the logistics. But from my understanding and what I know about game stores, I'm an online shop, but I'm also a small game store in a certain regard. We really sell a lot of singles, and singles can really keep you afloat. And so Wizards of the Coast, by going directly and selling to their customers at a cheaper rate, these sort of highly competitive cards in the form of secret lairs that are limited and wanted for their foiled out decks, it was already a little bit controversial. So now it's flash forward. They've been doing this for 2 years now. People mostly, either you hate it or you love it, but almost all secret lairs in the past have gone up in value. So your best bet as an investor for something like Magic the Gathering is to max order. Just order as many secret lairs as you can, throw it on the credit card, get your cash back, whatever, put it in your closet, wait 6 months to a year, put it back on the market and sell it for 20 to 50% more than what you bought it for. And so that's like big brain Magic investor, like secret lair. You'll be hated, if you do this and publicly and state it. That's what Rudy from Magic Alpha Investments, he does this, and it's just funny because I think he gets a lot of hate for it. He publicly does this.
Why do you get hate for it? That's so dumb.
People, he has a huge position in Magic the Gathering, and he does pump the market. He likes Magic, so like he talks about what he likes, and people think it's pumping the market, which it probably does, and he has a big position in what's being pumped. So anyway, people get mad at that, but that's not the point. Secret Lair 2 years later, though, because people are kind of getting tired of it. You have to imagine, since the inception of Secret Lair, they usually put 1 to 3 a month out. And so that's a lot of Secret Lairs. Each one's an individual little box. I have one.
Should I buy the My Little Pony Secret Lair?
Dude, there is something like that. There is something like that, yeah. But no, I don't have one on me. I put it away, but yeah, the Magic the Gathering has been doing this for a while, and just in the last couple of months, they threw a complete curveball. People don't usually open them up. People just keep them and sit on them, or they open one, pack it up, and then if they have extras, why would you open more? Because in Magic the Gathering these days, you really just need one copy of a premium card, because the way that the game is played in the most common form is something called Commander. In Commander, it's a 100-card deck, and you can't have any multiples of any card. So you only need one card to play the game. So you buy one secret lair, you open it up, throw all the rest in your closet. You have no incentive to open them. They recently, as someone was opening their one secret lair, it just so happened to be that someone who had a YouTube was opening it. They opened it live, a pack, and they pulled out a number serialized card with backwards art in a secret lair.
Jeez.
Wizards of the Coast didn't say anything about this. They didn't give anyone a warning. It was like a 1 of 100, and it was like middle numbered. It was like number 15 or 16, I believe. And so it just begs the question of like, how many of these things are there? In what product are they in? How long have they been putting these into the products? And what are their plans for the future of serialized cards? And it makes everyone who has 30 of those secret lairs up in their closet, who have been sitting up there just collecting dust, have a lot more incentive to want to actually crack those open and see if they get one of those numbered inserts. Whereas before, there was very little incentive for any of that sealed product to ever go down or lose attrition. Like if you have 30 of those sealed boxes, like why would you ever open more than one? So
yeah, no, Def, that makes sense.
Because the 5 cards. Everyone is not randomized. So they started doing this in Magic the Gathering within the last couple of months. And that's led a ton of people in the Pokemon and all the other TCGs to start like being, they're watching, they're just watching. And my Discord's been talking about it. I personally think it's a terrible decision. Not for Magic, because the way that Magic's doing it, Magic is really struggling right now. For me, what that shows, a game that's never done numbered serialized cards, doing it now in the face of all their competition doing it, and also in the face of where more people are sort of less interested in Magic and more interested in these other hype new card games, and even Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! I think is getting a lot more hype than Magic right now. And And I mean, I no offense to anyone, me saying even Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon, but Magic the Gathering is the GOAT. Like it is, I don't care what anyone says, that is the first card game, and that's the most steady card game. And like anyone who's been around in this hobby in anything longer than the last 2 years, you have to respect Magic the Gathering as a trading card game. Like I understand if you're just coming into the game now and people are like seeing Magic the Gathering, being like, Magic the Gathering, what? Who cares? Like that's a boomer game. But seriously, Magic is just slumping right now. And so what they're doing is they're trying, they're holding on with their, their last death grasp. They're trying these serialized cards, which to me seems desperate, and it doesn't feel genuine, because what it does is it creates this artificial first edition. And I personally think that first edition and serialized numbered exclusive cards is bad for trading card games. I specifically think it's also bad for collectible card games.
Yeah. Why do you think that?
Well, first of all, they're games, right? I mean, with sports, for example, a lot of with sports cards, that's sort of where this idea I think came from, is the serialized for sports. But it could also be applied to like Marvel, I think does it. Like MetaZoo does it now. There's Topps has been doing it for a while on other like IPs, like serialized inserts or autograph cards or sketch cards. I want to lump all that stuff together because that is called kind of all the same thing. So when talking about serialized cards, we could probably talk about all those things, but I think it's bad specifically for TCGs and CCGs though, because it creates an artificial first edition and it handcuffs, how do I put this? I think it handcuffs the trading card game if something were to happen, like a set were to boom, say a set that you print in Modern gets really, really hot competitively, and you need this card. Like, for example, Roaring Skies had Shaman EX. Shaman EX in Roaring Skies was like the most expensive card in the set. It was almost, I think, $100, and the booster boxes were close to that at the time too. And so those booster boxes went to like $200-$300. And then the Pokemon company, because that huge demand for Roaring Skies, reprinted the hell out of Roaring Skies to where it crashed the market to under $70 a booster box. And everyone, all the stonkers who invested in Roaring Skies, are obviously really upset because you thought that this thing was a safe investment, but it was a trading card game that people actively played. And these players were getting hosed for shamans. They essentially were getting hosed and couldn't play the game competitively. And so the fact that Pokemon was able to go back and reprint the set and quell that demand, I think helped them be able to sort of stabilize the market, even though some people would say it crashed the market. I think something like that is necessary where a game is involved and people play, because it may not have been Shaman. It may have been an uncommon in the set that busted to $5 a pop, and so people were buying out the packs just looking for the uncommon to sell to people and scalp to players. And Pokemon, I don't think, wants that to happen. And so with serialized cards, if you have 1 through 100 and you insert them into your print run, you would have to know initially how much of your print run you're going to make, because you're injecting those 100 cards into all of your boosters so that it's randomly inserted. And so after that, you can't then reprint the product, because then you don't have that serialized product to reprint with. You could theoretically, I think, reprint the same product with a new serialized card, but then that distinguishes first print to second print. And then you have like this situation where which serialized card do you like more? Do you like the first one, the second one? So they're going to have their own separate market thing. So it creates the same problem where it separates the market. So I do think we've seen Pokemon do first edition before. I mean, we all know. And a lot of people look fondly back on it. I think there was a lot of chatter this year about people wanting them to go back to first editions for like the anniversary. And for a moment, I thought that was kind of a cool, I thought I entertained that. It's like, that'd be kind of cool. But then I really unpacked it a lot, and I realized I like the fact that they got away from first editions, Because I think it does work for things that are strictly collectible, that are strictly something that you want to know the numbers of. You want full transparency. You want to know that there's 100 Charizards. If you're going to buy a Charizard and invest in Charizard, you want to know all the other people who have that Charizard. So you can know if those people have paper hands, if they actually are collectors. You want to know everything you can about that. So collectors always want as much information as they can get. But to the point of a trading card game, for the health of a trading card game, as someone who comes from this from like a player's perspective, from Magic the Gathering and Pokemon, I actually never really collected Pokemon growing up. I didn't start collecting Pokemon until I was later on in life, and I came back for nostalgic reasons. When I was younger, I only played the game. Maybe I'm looking at this from a bias because of that. But like from a player's perspective, you can't, like, thinking about it logistically, it would be very difficult to inject serialized cards, because then what do? Do you withhold maybe 25 serialized cards of random numbers so that at a later date you can then insert them into a reprint as needed? Because you don't reprint sets that don't need it. That's when you really crash the market. So if you initially always make a certain amount and you can't adjust those numbers up and down as needed, which is what Pokemon Company does and historically has done, I think it handcuffs the game and will sort of initially drive up in a bad and artificial way the players and make it even more difficult for players to get their cards. So I don't know. I think that it's inevitable. I do want to go out there and be on record and say I think we are going to see sort of the people will start using serialized cards in some way. To a certain extent, aren't cards that are really hard to pull kind of like serialized cards? Like an alt art is already basically a serialized card with how difficult it is to pull. So I think where I hear it is, I hear a lot of collectors would really like that because they would like transparency from companies about, and having a number on a card is like the best way to have transparency. If it has one in 100 and it's number 4 of 100, it's like, you know what you've got there. But I don't think that the Pokemon Company has as much incentive to have that transparency, because honestly, what's it going to do? Is it going to drive sales up? And like, do we really need sales to be driven up? Like, we just came out of a hype period where the problem was there was too much scalping and there was too much, hyping and whatever.
Yeah, and they couldn't make enough product. Yeah, I don't know. See, I don't feel like they're, for me, I mean, I know people are talking about it a lot, but I don't feel like they even need to do it. I feel like for numbered cards and that type of stuff, like all that novelty stuff, it's like how you were saying with Magic earlier, they're like doing it because they're in a kind of like a lull, so they need to like throw stuff in there. Do you know what I mean? It's like it almost, in sports they were doing a lot of like the numbered and like the patches and stuff like that, kind of like to try to drive numbers back up. And Pokemon doesn't need numbers, so I don't understand why they would even want to do that, because it also seems like their main goal is always to be like, we're gonna make a bunch of cards and try to meet demand as much as possible. And so I feel like doing serialized numbered cards would be against their morals, I guess. But I mean, if they want to make more money, they'll do it.
I think they're always down for making more money. And I think right now they're basically printing money. And I think by putting serialized cards, they would maybe drive the secondary market up, but they might be handcuffing their ability to print money. So that's actually a good way of thinking about it. I didn't even think about that. It's like, if they only can print so much, like, for example, imagine Celebrations, if they could only print one print of it. Imagine where that set would be right now. It wouldn't be $60 in ETB. It would be $200 in ETB. That set was so good and so hype that if there was like a low print run of Celebrations, or say they had serialized cards in it, and they're like, oh, sorry guys, we know you loved it, but we can't print anymore. We'll make a Celebrations 2 for you. Don't worry. There would be outroars. They'd be like, we don't want Celebrations 2. We want Celebrations 1. Give us more Celebrations 1. This is ridiculous. These boxes are $300 a box. This set came out this year. But instead, Pokemon was able to print to the ground, literally print to demand. And ETBs are still above retail. You can go to your local Target, and most of the time, not always, not anymore, but for a period of time, you could have bought probably a $50 ETB Celebrations, and they're worth $60 online. Just that's barely worth. So they're not being scalped, but they are consistently selling. It's one of the most asked for products on my stream is celebrations. So so I can imagine a world where Pokemon had serialized cards in celebrations and they misjudged the amount that they needed and it being a huge disaster.
Yeah,
Huge.
no, I could see that. I could
So
super see that because
so like
everyone would just buy it up and everyone would just wail it out so hard. You know what I mean?
okay, so here's the thing. If Brilliant Stars, if it came out, the Brilliant Stars, the set coming out in February, had serialized cards in it, I would take every box that I have and I would not sell it. I would buy it, I would throw it in the closet. I wouldn't look at it. Sorry guys, I got no Brilliant Stars. I'd
Yeah,
put a timer
exactly.
on it.
Because everyone would know that it's the first print run, it's going to have the serialized numbered cards. So they have to figure out their dilemma there.
It wouldn't
I
even
mean,
matter first print run or not. It's like if I know that you can only make a certain amount and I know the amount of excitement and how much of this stuff gets opened up, all you have to do is just wait. It doesn't matter. It could take 1 year, it could take 5 years, but if they can't reprint it, if it's essentially a reserve list, which is something in Magic the Gathering where they've said they will not reprint this card, it's called a reserve list, then I am very comfortable as long as I'm confident in Pokemon in buying that product and just sitting on it until that demand just that over time that sealed product just little by little it gets opened up. And then what's going to happen? The stuff that's left over, oh well, 75 of 100 of those inserts have been pulled, 85 of 100 have been pulled. Well, I've still got those 3 cases there. That means I have X, Y, or Z of inserts in there if those are the only ones left. So I think it creates logistical problems and it makes it bad for the game because it gives stores no incentive to sell on release. And so you need, as a TCG, your stores to dump your product right then so everyone can get it right away. The Pokemon Company does not want stores selling their booster boxes for like way over MSRP, people being mad at it because it limits those sales. They want booster box to be as low as possible so that, well, they should at least, so that more of their product is getting into their customers or consumers' hands.
Yeah.
So I don't see a reason for it. I think you said it a couple times. I agree. I just don't see a need for it. I see the community asking for it, and I see other card games doing it. That's a whole nother thing, though. I am getting into some MetaZoo, though.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm going to the dark side.
I have mixed feelings about MetaZoo. So I don't know. I'll see what's up.
Oh, I have mixed feelings. I have really mixed feelings. I agree. This is not. This is something that I'm going into this kicking and screaming.
Yeah, that's funny. Literally, that's really funny. Honestly,
here's the thing, though. People have been asking for it, and
yeah,
it's got so much legitimate. I think I don't know if I want to call it totally legitimate, but it seems like legitimate hype around it. People really like it, you know?
yeah. I don't know. I can't tell. You know what I mean? Because
So,
to give you, this is my experience with MetaZoo. To be completely frank with you, I'm just gonna be real. Every Collecticon I go to, I would go in the meta. Well, first, this is how I was introduced to MetaZoo. So, long story short, is that I was chilling at Collecticon. I think I just made a trade with Gem Mint. I got his Aquapolis. I got an Aquapolis PSA 9 Holo Espeon.
what, a Jolteon?
Espeon, the
Oh,
Espeon from
Espeon?
Aquapolis.
Oh, nice.
But anyways, so some homie walks up to me and it's like me, Van, and my girlfriend, and he goes, "Yo, have you guys been to the MetaZoo line?" And I was like, "No." And he goes, "Well, like, bro, like if you go and wait in the MetaZoo line, they'll give you some packs, and if you give them to me, I'll give you some trainer card, I'll give you some full arts." And I was like, "Yeah." And
All
he's
right.
like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, bet." And then I was like, I would instantly when he asked me the way he asked me in the vibe, I was like, nah, this stuff's worth money. There's something weird about it. I looked it up on eBay and it's literally those packs are going for like $200. And I was like, that's why he wanted them. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean?
That was a smart move on his part to go walk around trying to buy people's packs. Like any CollectCon you go to where they're giving away, that goes back to the numbered card thing. So those are numbered and there's a certain amount of those and they're unique to the event. Those cards are always, for whatever reason, highly, highly valued. So,
but yeah, so then he told me that and I was like, or like he was like, I was like, I'm gonna go do it, but I'm like, I'm not gonna give you the pack. You know what I mean? Like, bro.
Good move. Good move.
Because he was literally trying to trade. Because my girlfriend was like, well, what kind of cards are you trying to give away after we got the packs? And he's literally like GX, like, you know what I mean? Like random GX cards, not
Like
even
nothing worth it. Just
yeah, and it's like, bro,
if you really wanted that, then you should have tried a little harder.
yeah, no, exactly. And it's like, I don't know, maybe it worked on other people, but I'm like, bro, you don't think homie's gonna look up if you're trying to like push this thing? You know
If
what I mean?
anything, he made it worse for himself because then you looked it up. Like if you made it a good enough deal that it was still like a little under market, and you're like, oh, I don't care about Matazu, hell yeah, then you wouldn't have even looked. But the fact that he was like shady about it and like super lowballed and like give you these terrible cards, you're like, I better check this out. So that's funny yeah, that's a pro tip, right? Don't lowball too bad.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's like, bro, like you can't just be obvious with your moves. But then it's like I talk to other homies and it's like hit or miss when you wait in the MetaZoo lines. Like I'll have some homies and I'll be like, so you like MetaZoo? And they'll be like, nah. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, I like money though. And I was like, and I'm like, okay, I see.
At least
you,
they're
bro.
honest.
Yeah. That's where I have mixed feelings about it. Cause it's like some people I talk to, they're super into it. Other people are like, nah, I'm gonna flip this real quick. And I'm like, you know what I mean? So it's like,
To be real with you,
hmm.
I just bought $1,000 of MetaZoo. I'm not gonna keep any of it. I'm selling it all. I'm dumping it all. I have zero confidence that I want to keep it and like keep it unless I open it. So I'm not dumping it. I'm not selling it. I got it for my channel. I'm being a little bit facetious about it. Like I bought it for my channel because there's genuine interest.
Yeah, it's for your customers, but it's like you as a person, you don't.
Yeah. So like if I end up opening a lot of it and it like and I like it, yeah, I might keep some of it just for because I like trading card games. I like dead trading card games. So let me say this. I don't know if everyone is ready for what could happen to MetaZoo. I love dead card games. Do you know why I love dead card games? Because they're worth nothing. Because they are worth literal pennies. They're worth less than what people sold them for years ago on release. That's why I love dead card games. And that at that point, I can see MetaZoo getting to a point where I really like it. But
just kidding.
So anyway, I'll throw a box in my closet if I really enjoy it, if I'm opening it on my channel, if I genuinely enjoy the art, if I think it's kind of silly, fun. Like I bought it because I like these promos. These are the Alpha Investment promos.
Oh, yeah.
I specifically will keep these. So I don't care about MetaZoo, but I'll keep these because I like this promo. I like Rudy. He's a YouTuber I follow. You know, I'm a Timmy. So
yeah, he's
cool.
The homie.
But
yeah, honestly, all MetaZoo I've ever gotten, I just moved it.
So I'm going to move it. I'll tell you, though, how it goes. But I'm genuinely, I don't want to say excited, but I am excited because it's new. And like it just came out. The packaging's really nice.
Is it?
Like,
okay.
It's super premium. Like for a second edition product that's like relatively cheap, because I got the Cryptid Nation second edition. That's what I ordered, was a release kit of that. And it's really high quality. Like I will say much higher quality than any TCG I've opened in the recent future. Jeez. I haven't opened it yet, but the box though is a higher quality is what it looks like.
Okay, that's dope. Let me know when you open it. Let me know how it goes. Because I have mixed feeling.
I think tomorrow. Yeah. So I have a question for you. I recently got back. This is actually we haven't talked about this yet. So this will be good. I recently got back and I had ordered some packs from a gentleman online, and I order packs when I can. I get the weight of the loose packs so that I kind of know what I'm getting.
Yeah.
And all of the packs were consistently about 1.5 to or 0.2 to 0.15 grams lighter than what I had seen on his scale when showing pictures and things. And
yeah,
homie wasn't trying to scam me, but his scale was not. I mean, I don't think it wasn't calibrated, or I can go back and look to see where it was at, or he's up in the mountains or something. But I'm in a position where I have now an art set
Mm-hmm.
of potentially heavy fire red leaf green. They're all still heavy. So I will say that the weights that I bought them at were higher weights than I had seen on average, which makes sense for why his scale would not be calibrated, because it's like those are way higher. Like every single one was above 17.6 grams, which
Okay, yeah, I was
for
gonna
an
ask you that.
EX era pack, the weights that typically range, there are two range of packs from fire red leaf green, sort of the eras with like the hollow, the foil reverse. We're not talking about the delta species, because delta species and like EX Deoxys, delta species, Holland Phantoms, those are different weight ranges. They can run in the 15, 16, 17, all the way up to 19 grams. Those can run a huge range from box to box or pack to pack. But the fire red leaf green, unseen forces, EX Dragon, from those early era, typically non-gold star or early gold star sets, they have a very specific pack range. It's either the 16.4 to 16.7 grams, or 17 grams to 18 grams. And so every single one of these packs was like 17.7 or 17.6 or whatever. And so I was thinking, wow, I've opened EXs in less than that. So those are all EXs or something. So now I'm in a position where I feel like maybe two of them could have a chance at being EXs based on their weights. And I'm not mad. But like, do I message him and say, hey, just so you know, all of the weights that you sold to me were wrong. I don't want a refund. I still feel like I want the packs and they're fine. But it's just like, if I know that if I sold somebody a pack and I weighed it for them and showed them the weight and it got to them and then that weight was off, I would almost feel obligated to issue some sort of I don't know if I would issue a refund or offer to, I would at least say, hey, I'm sorry, I'll buy that back from you. That was my bad, at the same price you paid if you don't want it. Like, if you, because then it's like, it's totally like, oh man, I did not intend that, but you have the option of backing out now. And that puts yourself at risk of like getting a tampered pack back or whatever. But so like, do I message the guy and be like, hey, none of your packs were the weights that you advertised.
How off were they exactly?
So they were in the weights. When I saw the pictures, I think he had pictures of them. They were all like 17.6 to 17.8.
Okay.
And so they are all actually, in reality though, they're all 17.4 to 17.6.
Okay.
So it's about 0.2 each under.
Yeah.
And they were all sold as heavies. And so, knowing what I know though about EX era, they are all potentially heavy.
Yeah.
But as a non-savvy, so I just think, what's your take on that? I mean, like, what is I'm not gonna, I don't think so. For anyone listening, I don't think I'm gonna do anything on it. I think I'm just gonna keep the packs and be like, hey, I understand people don't calibrate their sales. I don't think there's foul play involved. This guy seemed fine. We talked. I always discuss and talk a lot with someone I'm about to send over $1,000 to, and so I mean, I felt like it was fully transparent. I just think it was a situation where maybe his scale wasn't calibrated, or maybe he was up in high elevation. I don't know.
Yeah. If there's no harm, no foul, I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, if anything, I would message and be like, hey, like, the weights are kind of off. I'm just trying to look out for you in the future so no one gets bummed on you later, like in that type of way. And just be like, I'll keep them, but I'm just putting it out there because, like, if someone else bought them and they were like, bro, these are not the exact weights, they could do some stuff against you, and it's a big headache. That's where I would probably be at for the most part.
And I told him I was going to open them. I said I'm going to open these. So I don't think he was like intending to be dishonest. And that's the strategy I use as well when buying. I think we may have discussed this before a podcast, but like, when I'm buying sealed product from someone, especially vintage sealed product, even if I don't intend to open it, I always imply heavily that it's going to be opened immediately. just because if that is the case and someone is trying to get over on you with counterfeit or scammed, they're trying to, what the ideal situation for a scammer or someone to sell like a GI Joe box, that a base set box that's got GI Joe in it, is to sell it to someone. That person just doesn't blink and puts it in their closet, forgets about it for 5 years, and then 5 years later when it booms, they try to sell it. The person they want to sell it to authenticates it and says, hey, this isn't real, I'm not buying. And then that person can't go back to, in time and chase down the seller. So
that person, yeah, exactly.
So that's why I always when I'm buying high-end things, even if I'm not going to open them, I imply to the seller that I'm going to open them. And usually I say I'm going to do it live, like in front of people, or I say who I am. I'm saying, hey, I have a content creator with X, Y, or Z channel. I'm going to do this live at this date. If I buy it from you, if you want, you can be there, like tune in.
Yeah. No,
And
that makes sense.
I've never had an issue with counterfeit problems. I buy a lot of really, vintage packs, like, from the loose packs that I get, and like I've got a fossil box up here and a Power Keepers box that's just sitting here looking at me. But like, I've never had an issue with resealed product yet. But I try to do as much diligence as I can when I'm buying that. Plus, I've been in the hobby for a long time. So, I mean, not to say I can't, and somebody who hasn't been in the hobby for a long time can't get scammed, because I certainly have gotten scammed. I've bought, so, those full sets that you would see on LeonHart's channel sometimes, where he would have like the full EX Dragon, like sealed set, or like sealed XY plasma or black and white era, like one through whatever, one of every card, like factory sealed sets. I bought one of those before, and it was definitely counterfeit, and I was even fooled by it. So
oh really? Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, and eBay they didn't take care of me, because it was like a no return policy, and so like I didn't catch it within the 30-day. I had it for like, I just grabbed it, checked it, like, oh, this is cool, took a little picture, throw it in my vault, and then one of my followers was like, hey, that doesn't look real. And I was like, and he's like, I messaged him. I was like, what do you mean? What doesn't look real? Can you possibly elaborate? And because it was a sealed brick, it was still in the plastic. And so he was like, oh yeah, like a couple years ago, I bought a few of these things and I got them online, and I ended up opening them up, and it ended up being a counterfeit from China. And so I looked into it, and lo and behold, it's counterfeit from China. Like the color on the card was like just a little bit off, a little bit bigger, a little puffier, and like when it was wrapped, I didn't see it because it was like through the plastic. But
yeah, no, that makes sense.
And I didn't want to like mess with it too much. Like, all right, cool. And like the person I bought it from claimed that they had like their dad had a game shop, and like I talked to him back and forth for a while. They legitimately didn't seem like they were trying to. They're like, oh, if you want it, you can have it. If you don't, that's fine. It's like, all right, well. But so it's even happened to me. So it can happen to anyone. Just to say, not to say that someone who's been in it can't get scammed, but like I was saying, it's very hard, I think, to get over on someone who knows what they're looking for. And if the scammer knows that there's going to be something happening with the box that's maybe not to what they wanted, so like you're going to open it live in front of a bunch of people, then maybe they won't sell it. They'll say, oh, never mind, I'd like more for it, whatever. They back out of the sale. They go to someone else who they think is just going to put it in their closet, and they'll get away with it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, honestly.
Yeah, so that's my thought.
Yeah.
I also got this.
Huh. Sheesh. That's dope.
I like blister packs.
I think they're cool. This is my favorite card right now.
Oh, your Caterpie.
Yeah, I love this card so much. I think last time I was talking to you, I was like, I want fake cards. And then, so at the LCS that I go to, he had this on the shelf. And I was like, oh my God, you have the Caterpie EX card. And he's like, yeah, bro. And I was like, how much do you want for it? And he's all like, you can just have it, dude. And I was like,
specifically asked about that card. That was the specific card you wanted from a counterfeit card when we were talking.
Yo.
So that's, you got it. That's your grail, man.
Bro. Yeah, I was hyped, honestly.
I got these too.
Jeez. Let me see. Dragon. The $3.99 stickers. Oh,
Unseen Forces too.
That's crazy, dude. That's dope, honestly.
Those are light though. Those are light for sure.
Yeah.
They're both from the same seller.
Oh, I just got this. It's Power Keepers.
Oh, heck yeah. Weigh that bad boy.
Huh?
That you could weigh that bad boy. I'd be curious to see what it weighs, but I'm pretty sure it'll weigh between 19.9 and 20.1.
Okay, I'll let you know what it weighs, and we'll see what's up. I'm putting in like, because I sold all my, so for this Jordan, I didn't tell you like what I traded for it, but I ended up trading all my whole sealed packs. Almost every sealed pack I own, I traded for that Jordan. So
Did you do that deal that you sent me a picture of with all the base set and?
no, I didn't do that one.
Okay.
I offered him one. I offered him for like all the cards and the backs, and I offered him 1.5, and then he was like, then he messaged me. He's like, someone, I already sold it. Someone offered me 1.8, and I was like, all right, that's fine. Like,
That's
you
good.
know,
For him, he should have taken that.
yeah,
If I
no,
were him, I would have taken that and run.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because it was, I offered him 1.5 for like all the packs, all the stuff, and then all the singles on top. So
Yeah.
I felt that was like a fair offer because I needed like move all that stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah. No,
I gotta make margins on that.
That lot looked like it was probably like a $400 to $500 lot, except for the packs and like the sealed stuff. That was the sealed stuff was about 1,000 from my overall. Like if you still wanted to make a little money on it and sell it and everything.
Yeah, exactly. But
speaking of selling, I got to meet one of my contemporaries, Bug Catcher Cards, another whatnot seller, and I think that it's funny because I sat and talked, I stood and talked to Bug for probably longer than I talked to a lot of people, and I talked to him all the time in live streams, but I will say shout out to Bug. I hope that we can do a collaboration sometime because we were talking about that while we were there. So if he ends up seeing this, that's I just thought of him. That's good. But yeah, I definitely I like personally. I've been thinking about sealed blisters with the whole pack grading shenanigans that happened with BBCE. I personally have never liked graded packs. I always thought that blisters were a better display of the pack because it gave you like the artwork of the set. You know, it's got all this like cool unknown, you know, it's got the Pokemon Company, it's got the Natu down there. So it's like you get that, plus you get the back with all the, I don't know, the information, and you can't really weigh them. I mean, you can weigh them, but they're like, it's better than a sealed graded pack, in my opinion, because when you see a graded pack, you know it's light. You already know that that's a light pack because nobody in their right mind is sending unweighed or heavy packs to get graded.
Yeah, exactly.
So like it takes all of the fun when I see those packs out of it for me. So like for me, a blister pack is so much more cool to see. It gives me more excitement than a graded pack because like, first of all, I don't care about the number, the arbitrary number of 1 through 10 that's being assigned to the pack. If it's going to be ripped open, who cares? It's authentic if you can.
Can you get a PSA 1?
I've never ever
Can you
seen
get a PSA 1 graded pack?
So I've seen a Magic pack grade a PSA 6. It was an alpha pack, and it actually had a sticker on it. They graded it with the sticker on it because with a Magic Gathering alpha pack, that is such a rare set and a rare gem, museum quality gem, that you don't care if there's a sticker on the pack. You're not going to try to remove it because you might scratch the pack. It's better just to keep the sticker. So it graded a 6. That's the lowest pack rate I've ever seen.
Sheesh. So well, you should start collecting packs in PSA 1.
Dude,
that'd be kind of sick.
I collect PSA 1s. Like, I need a PSA 1 pack.
Dude, I wonder how fucked up it needs to be for it to get a PSA. Like, do you have to like get the pack and like punch it and stuff?
And at what point does it just get so damaged that they're like, this is not, I can't authenticate this. This is too fucked up, you know, like it's like too ripped. So
dude, when grading is cheap, you should do it with a bunch of just like modern packs and just see if they'll give you ones, and then
that would be a really, so right now I don't know if they're doing
so funny
anymore. I honestly don't know. I wonder if PSA is even doing them right now. Have you heard anything about the Logan Paul situation?
No, I haven't paid attention.
I haven't paid attention either, but I haven't heard anything publicly either. I'm just now thinking of it like, anything. I'm sure we won't hear anything about that either, to be 100% honest.
Probably not. Yeah, honestly, I'm really bad at staying up to date with all the like current events and stuff.
That's what this is for.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So aside from the pop shop and essentially the drama surrounding that, I feel like there's quite a bit else that's happening. I mean, we've got Brilliant Stars that went out. I know that distributors are dropping they're pushing a ton of product right now on local game stores. Some
Are
distributors, I
they?
think it's Southern. Did you hear about any of this?
No.
So my friend yesterday actually messaged me saying, "Hey, bro, I just bought $11,000 for my distributors worth of modern stuff, but I need it all. Like, I'm super happy about it. It's a bunch of big." I was like, "Dude, that's crazy. Like, I would buy probably $11,000 worth of stuff, a modern, if it was given to me at a really good deal and a bundle price." And so
Yeah,
I thought this was
exactly.
like a special deal that he got from his distributor. Then today, Mason from Cardinal Gaming puts out a video.
I saw the thumbnail, but I didn't watch the video.
That's what it was about. And so the
Sheesh.
video just shout out to Mason, great video, by the way. He's just talking about distributors and stuff, but in the video he talks about how his distributor, one of the larger distributors, I think it's Southern, I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's Southern. They are giving a bundle deal for their customers where you get, so here's the breakdown. For $11,000 they're offering this to all of their customers, the LGSs. You get one Vivid Voltage booster box. I think 2 Darkness Ablaze booster boxes.
Yeah.
4 Rebel Clash booster boxes. I think like 12 Battle Styles. I think there's a couple cases of Battle Styles in there.
Yeah.
And 24 Evolving Skies booster boxes. So like 4 cases of Evolving Skies.
Yeah.
And then 108 Fusion Strike booster boxes.
Sheesh.
For 11,000. And I think
how much does that round off to?
I think
like per box.
From what I was told, I think it's about 80 something. I think it's like $80 or 82. It's like cheaper than what you would buy per box from a distributor. It's a bundle deal, and you get some good stuff like Evolving Skies and the older stuff like Vivid Voltage and
Yeah.
So like my friend, he bought it and he was excited about it. And I know he can move all of that Fusion Strike. He's a Whatnot streamer. And so like I know he has a platform to move it on. He's happy to have all of that. He's not going to go sell it on the secondary market and dump it for like $80 a booster box. He's just going to use it.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
But big but. I like butts. I like big butts because this one is spicy. This is a take. I think that we are inbound for a massive, if not the biggest dump of Fusion Strike that we have yet to see on the market. Because here's the situation. Game stores really want Evolving Skies.
Yeah.
Game stores really would love Darkness Blaze, Vivid Voltage, Rebel Clash, booster boxes, all of those other booster boxes, except for all the Fusion Strike. Hell, game stores are probably like 50 boxes of Fusion Strike,
Yeah.
52, whatever. But 108, they got to pay those credit cards bills, baby. They got 30 days to pay them credit card bills, baby. And so like they're going to buy all of that in 11 grand and they're going to dump as much as they can, as quick as they can on the market to recoup those costs of Fusion Strike. And that's not going to help the market. That's not going to help Fusion Strike. That's going to be put downward pressure on it in a way that it hasn't seen, because this is like artificial. Like we've seen downward pressure from the market just in general going downward, which is fine. This is like extra downward. This is like, extra weight that's being thrown on it by this one distributor. Like, I don't know if that's a good sign. Like, I think we are in for even lower Fusion Strike prices.
Sheesh. I might buy some modern then.
At this point, right?
I haven't bought modern in the longest time, dude, to be real with you. Like, I haven't ripped any celebrations. I haven't bought any. So last time I bought anything was like Vivid Voltage.
That's a long time ago. That was almost 2 years ago at this point.
That's weird. Oh, and before that I bought after that I bought Shining Star V, but that's like, I feel like that was kind of different, and that's pretty much it.
And that was Japanese, so you ordered it online, right? I mean, so modern right now. I was
buying boxes when it was like $50.
Oh, heck yeah.
Like when they were like retail. Dude, did I tell you? Literally on my YouTube, I made a tier list and it was all like, or it was like what you should buy. And when I made those types of videos, I was like, you guys should just buy Shining Star V. It's $50. Like it should be more than $50. And it's literally like, it went up to like what, 130, 140 or something.
It was all the way almost to 175 to 200 at one point.
Dude, but yeah, you know what's crazy though is like, so I had an affiliate link for eBay on there, and I was like, yeah, just click the eBay affiliate link. I made like $1,000 from that affiliate link after dropping that video. And I was like, oh my, and they take a huge cut. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, oh.
That being said, affiliate links down below.
Hit the affiliate link. You already know what to do, guys. Like and subscribe.
Right.
But no, dude.
No, but damn, dude, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, Shiny Star V, that was a play. We need a whole podcast talking about what was wrong with, in my opinion, Shining Fates. Shining Star V was brilliant.
It was so good. I had so much fun.
Shining Fates, like, I love the baby shinies. Don't get me wrong. I love those baby shinies, that texture and all that stuff. Shining Fates was a garbage fire compared to Shining Star V.
Dude, I wish they would make God packs, but I don't think they're down. God packs were fun.
Those are fun. Those are really fun. In the VMAX Climax, I like that there are alternate styles of God packs. So you got like the trainer one, you could get the other style with like the mixed one, or then you could get like the all Pokemon like character rare one, which I thought that was really cool.
I didn't know that actually. I haven't been keeping up.
Yeah, so they had 3 different types. The rarest one was the mixed one. I've never seen one of those, but I've heard rumors of them. But there's distinctively, I have seen the trainers. So either when you get a God pack, it's going to be all trainers, full art, or all of the character rare, like the CHRs.
Might have to buy a box just to open it.
I have 1 box left. It just dropped in price. It's like $70 now.
That's not bad. Honestly, I might buy one.
I think it's like 80 after tax and shipping and stuff, but you can probably get boxes for like 70 something bucks. So
that's really not bad for where we're at in the market. Like,
it's really good. I legit, I'm thinking every single day. Like, I'm glad that not a lot of people are going to watch this at this late in it, because I'm about to shill VMAX Climax really hard right now. But
I respect it, dude.
It's the best set that Pokemon has released in like 10 years, because and I don't think that I think English, it's going to be split up in multiple sets, or if we do get a set where it's going to be like to that level, it's going to be like a watered down set, because they're taking 30 of them out to put them in Brilliant Stars. So there's already no way that 30 of those amazing character rares are going to be in the set. So like the experience of opening VMAX Climax is unlike anything I've ever experienced.
I might order a box.
All-Star GX, even that, which was a good experience. Did you open a lot of that?
No, I didn't. I wasn't in there yet. You know what I mean?
Right. And I only did because like I when I first got in the hobby, I loved those gold cards, like the tag team. And I was like, my girlfriend actually found them, and she's like, these boxes are like $50. She's like, these are Japanese. I know you don't like Japanese cards. She's like, I know you don't like Japanese cards, but this is a Japanese exclusive set and it's only $50. And she's like, we get 2 of these booster boxes or 1 English. I was like, all right, let's get some Japanese, you know. And dude, we opened the gold. Sick. We opened the Melmetal Lucario in like one of our first boxes, and
that's fucking dope.
It. So good. But even that set can't hold a candle to VMAX Climax.
I might buy some, honestly.
Yeah, so I mean, after this, I'm probably gonna buy some too, just because like,
where are you buying yours from?
On the trip, I was thinking about it on my trip, like I need to buy some VMAX because it went down in price. It was like $80 and went down to like 70 just recently because it got another reprint.
Where are you buying it from?
I buy through an online a guy that I know on Facebook that I've worked with for over a year now, that is like a middleman in Japan. Really, really reputable, really great low prices. I'll give you his info. So you can
send me that info. Yeah, I'm down.
Legit. Like he doesn't weigh. I've opened like, you know, gold cards out of his. He does not weigh any of his packs. If you get loose packs from him, he sells so much that it would just take him too much time to do it.
Yeah.
You can get those magazines from him too, the Koro magazines, if they ever come out with the promos.
Okay. Yeah, send me his info after this, because I'm down. We started because I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, 80 is really not a bad buy-in point. And then you're like, yo, they're like 70, and I'm like, oh shoot.
His price is 72, and then you have to pay the shipping from Japan. So you want to order enough, because shipping is for a small box, it's like $25. For a bigger box, which I recommend just going enough to get a bigger box, like $45.
That's chilling. So how much do you normally order? Like, what's your like?
I order roughly 10 to 15 boxes of VMAX Climax, or I was ordering the EV Heroes boxes from him, and before that I was ordering. I got these. So these boxes, these ones, I ordered these from him. these EV boxes.
Sheesh, that's
So
dope.
yeah, I've been buying from him for a long time now, for
Does he
over a
have the
year.
stamp box?
Is that what?
Does he have the stamp box? I've been trying
Yeah,
to buy those.
I
Okay.
bought mine from him. That's literally the guy I bought my stamp from.
Sheesh. Okay, I'm down.
Yeah, so just message him, and if there's something you want, he's really cool. Like his English is decent. Like I can tell it's not his main language really, but it's pretty good. And
Yeah.
like one time he I was when I was ordering, I usually order 10 or 15. For
hmm
some reason, I ordered 9 boxes of
hmm
VMAX Climax, not a full 10 with some other stuff. And so I was like counting it and whatever. And I thought that he only sent me like 9 and I ordered 10. And I was like, hey man, I don't know how we can sort this out, but you sent me the wrong amount of boxes. But as it turned out, I was wrong. I ordered 9, not 10. And he was so gracious and cool and willing to like work with me, even though I was wrong. That when I learned it, I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, that was my bad, man. It
Yeah.
really cemented in me the good business tactics that he had. So like definitely finding a good source and a good middleman has been very beneficial to me as a seller and me as a buyer as well, but very much so me as a seller, because it makes me have more confidence in where my product come from. And a lot of people right now in the game, I think in the Pokemon game, are really worried about reseals for good reason, especially when buying overseas. It takes a
Yeah.
little bit of trust.
Yeah. No, I feel you. That makes sense. Okay, dope. Yeah, send me that info because I
No,
was like,
for
I
sure.
literally was thinking about VMAX and I was like,
Yeah, but so
looks
anyway,
good.
best set of the year. I don't think English is going to be able to live up to it, to be 100% honest.
Because they're gonna
Um,
water it down into multiple different sets. So
Yeah, and that's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same experience as having a box with 10 packs that you're guaranteed to have this really good chance of getting something no matter what. And
dude,
every
I
box,
hate opening English Modern. I can't front. It's like you buy a booster box and then it's like you get a bunch of you have to deal with a bunch of bulk and then you get some like not GX, you get some V's and then it's like it just feels disappointing. You know
you
what I
get
mean?
disappointment. That's what you get. You buy a modern booster box, you open it, you get disappointment. That's what you
Dude,
get.
exactly. I opened Shiny Star V. Every box was so much fun. Like
Yeah,
every box. I opened like 5 box. And then I opened some on my YouTube channel for a live stream. So much fun.
everyone loves it. Yeah, I used to stream whenever English was really hard to get. I would buy Japanese to stream Japanese, and Shining Star V
hmm
was always a hit. Like it's
Yeah,
so much
dude.
better than Shining Fates. So, like it is. I will say that I don't agree that Japanese product is always better than English, and I don't agree that like it's superior. There's this narrative that for a long time Japanese was like cheaper and people didn't want it. Now
hmm
there's like this narrative going around that like Japanese is like higher quality, it's like better. And I feel like there's like this elitist realm of Pokemon lovers who only collect Japanese now because like the high-end trophy cards are Japanese and like the Pikachu illustrator, all that kind of stuff is in Japanese, the snap cards. But like I'm still like at heart, I'm an English collector. So like I personally I will always have that tendency towards English, I believe. So
Okay, dope. Yeah, no, I feel that too. But for an experience, had way more fun with Shiny Star V. So I think I'll have fun with VMAX Climax. I'll probably buy like 10, open like a couple, and then figure out what to do with the rest. But
did you think about what we asked with the at the end of the last episode for shining or the hidden fates ETBs above 225 versus evolving skies booster boxes above 150? Did you think about that at all?
no, I didn't even think about that at all.
So speaking of
but
modern, it's funny because Evolving Skies is already on its way up to 135 right now. I think it's like 130, 135. Since we last talked about this, it's almost there.
Jeez.
And Hidden Fates, I think, is also on its way. I think that both of those projections were under at this point. I don't think we're going to get enough of a reprint of Evolving Skies. So just to further the show, I think at this point we're going on
Yeah.
close to hour 45.
Oh, we're in
Maybe
deep.
yeah, we're gonna probably cut the cast here soon so we can talk about some more modern and stuff on the next cast because I think that's where we're
Yeah,
going
I
next.
like this stuff that we're talking about now. It's really fun.
Oh yeah,
So,
for
but
sure.
we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So we
But
will probably just to keep it within 2 hours. But that being said, I don't think that prediction matters anymore. I think both of my predictions were under. I think that 225 for Hidden Fates ETB by the end of the year is going to be under. I think it's going to be 250 actually. And I think Evolving Skies is well on its way to 150 easily. I don't know about past
Sheesh.
150, but We'll
Yeah.
see. If it gets a reprint though, that would be nice. I'm not saying I don't want a reprint, but I just don't at this point I don't know if it's coming. We could really use it though.
Don't they need it for players though?
No,
They
no,
don't? Okay.
no. Evolving Skies, there's so much of it out there. Players can buy the singles they need. There's so much of it, and it's still there. It will be
Mm.
needed if the boxes get to like 180 to 200. Then I think it'll be needed.
Hmm.
I would take another reprint if they did a reprint. I would take it. I would love it.
Okay. Yeah, I like getting your perspective on all the modern stuff because I'm just like I'm kind of out of the loop on it, so I'm like I don't know, but there's a lot of plays to be made, so
There definitely is. I personally think modern is stronger, and I have more. I'm a modern Tauros. I say this all the time. I'm more bullish on modern than I am on vintage.
Yeah.
Probably because I work so much and deal so much in modern. Like you can see behind me.
Yeah, Dev. No, that makes sense.
So like
Yeah.
it's my bread and butter, and like I see it as more interest is there like with the general public. Like a lot of people like who are really hardcore like those trophy cards, they like those high-end vintage cards, they like low pop, they like PSA. But the general collector, the general binder collector, just Pokemon lover, they're not long-term collectors, and they're not like really hardcore. They just want cool Pokemon cards. They get in and out of it for like a short period of time. Like
Yeah.
they're not like us, they're like buying these cards for like the long term, to throw in like as an investment. They're buying them because they like them and they're accessible and they are shiny and
And they look
they'll
cool.
yeah, and they're cool, and they're gonna put them in a binder maybe or throw them in a box. The life's gonna go on. It's gonna lose popularity over time. They're gonna forget about those cards, and then maybe they'll come back to it because Pokemon is a generational thing and it has that lasting power. And I feel like all these card games, I can't get away from them. Like I've been dragged away at times in my life, but I keep getting dragged back, and that is a common theme that in the TCG community. That like once the hooks are in, I feel like you can't get them out.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Because me and Van would play. Because I mean, I played when I was a kid, and then Van was super into Pokemon when he was a kid, and we'd always. What year was Heart Gold, Soul Silver? Like
I think that was 2000, the game or the cards.
the cards.
I think 2008, 2008,
2008.
2009.
Me and him we would always build decks and we would play. I mean, they were like dog water decks, but we'd buy starter decks and just we'd pull packs and put random stuff in it. You know what I mean? And we went in pretty hard with that. And then time passed. We did that for like a year and then we stopped. And then Hidden Fates, we got back in. But you know what's crazy is before Hidden Fates, me and him every Christmas we would buy the championship decks and we would buy them and play them. Like so it'd be like our Christmas like thing. Like I'd buy him the decks and we'd like hang out over Christmas and then play the like championship decks.
I
So
loved those championship decks. They did that sort of thing in Magic, and they had like gold borders, and they were worth nothing ever, but they were like the championship winners decks. I
yeah.
love that. It is such a good concept, and it's such an easy way for people who like aren't really engaged to just pick it up and be like, I played the game. Like, I really want to get someone on the podcast with us who's like a longtime player to get like a player's perspective as well, because I think a lot of what we talk about, a lot of what my Discord talks about, the YouTube community, it's not as much playing the game, which I understand that more people collect Pokemon than play it. So like,
Yeah.
it's like whatever, dude. Like, who cares about playing? But seriously, like, there's an aspect of the game that like matters to players, and if it ever stops being that like a game first, then I would start being worried about the hobby. Even though people don't really play it, I would really be worried if like they literally just didn't care about the game. Like the
Yeah.
fact that they're still caring, they're like putting out a new client, a new PTCGO client that's like rolling out for phones, so you can actually play it on your phone instead of only on your computer or your iPad or whatever.
Dude, it's
That's
gonna be
huge.
dope.
For like kids, that's great. I would love to hear like that the kids in school are like getting their phones taken away because they're playing PTCGO online, because for my business, that's great for the longevity. It's not great for like the education of the youth, but it's good for the longevity of business.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I need to get into the meta. I haven't fucking caught up with the meta in a long time. Last time I played like pretty hardcore was what was it, Mewtwo Mew GX when that was meta?
And Pikarom, and
Dude,
and
Van had
Zacian,
Pikarom. Yeah, I had Mewtwo Mew and then Van had Pikarom. And so we like
and
you know
then
what's crazy?
Reshiram, that was good too at
Yeah.
that time. Reshizard.
You know what's crazy though is I remember we built our decks, and so we started going. Like we went to a few events. I took Van to his first event, and then COVID hit, and then they canceled tournaments. Like it was so, I don't know. The timing of it was just so weird.
Yeah, and so that also makes me incredibly bullish on the future of Pokemon, is that when all of this boom happened, there was this downward pressure that like one element of the game that is just not being focused on is that playing in-person tournament hype, like more for the youth, I want to say, not to say that older people don't enjoy Pokemon too, but it's more for the getting the youth and like having that base involved, which is important. That has not been there in this last couple of years, and we've gone through booms and busts with none of that. So like what happens when we are going through those same booms and busts, when we suddenly have that back injected into the market?
Dude, yeah, I know. I need to build a deck. I really want to one day. I really want to play Frosted Caribou in tournament. It'd be so funny.
Dude, I want to talk to her
Gold.
so bad. Like
Oh my god.
I think she's such a good content creator in this sphere, and I think that she gets such like, I mean, I think there's just so much like emotion or like negative or positive either way towards it. It's not very few people have like a just neutral for some reason, but I would love to talk to her because just as far as someone who like plays the game, I think she's a really good like player, like ambassador to the game and everything.
I agree with that sentiment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but for some reason there's like this like the investment. I think it has a little bit to do with the whole like video and the whole Gary versus Frosted kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Dude,
And
that
so
beef
like I
was
feel
so
like
weird.
people have to choose a side, they feel like, where it's like, man, people are individual people, they have their beefs and stuff, but I
Mhm.
would really love to talk to her someday because I think that as someone who plays, yeah, she's really, and also, you know who's really good?
Hmm.
Tricky Jim.
Oh, that dude's cool. I want to meet that dude. He used to skate too, so I want to skate with him.
Andrew Mahomes, I think is his name, right? I think that's his name,
That
Andrew.
sounds right. I need to
Yeah,
meet him too. I want to meet him and fucking go skating.
dude, he's
Because he
cool. He
talks about
seems cool.
skateboarding all the time.
He seems really cool. I bet you he's got a bunch of those Bear Walker skateboards because
I could see
he's a
that,
skater. I didn't know he's a
honestly.
skater.
That's one of the well, I mean, it's not one of the reasons. I would watch his stuff, you know what I mean? But he does a lot of like game stuff. So I was like, oh, he's not talking about the collecting the cards. But then I remember watching one video. He was like, yeah, I used to skate a bunch and it used to influence my like life a lot. And I was like, damn, that's crazy.
I
I was
wonder
like,
how
I feel
players
that.
like him collect, because you're right. He never talks about his collection, but I wonder how players like him collect. You know,
He has a decent collection. I mean, I think he has a good collection actually. Like it's like
I
really
bet he
good.
does.
And it's a bunch of stuff he's just amassed over time. And like he's like graded a bunch of cards that he just had from having them. And like, do you know what I mean? So it's like he just the fact that he was in so deep from playing, like he just amassed a crazy collection, you know?
As a
So
player, like an old player, it's just the things that you value as someone who only plays like in the meta is so different than what the collectors value. Like, so
mhm.
like I just wonder like what types of things he was going out of his way to collect that were specifically not good in the meta. It would be one of those things I would love to pick his brain about because like I was a player and I did not collect. Like a lot of people who I talk to, they say, "Oh yeah, those are in my binder. I never played with them. They're near mint because I didn't play the game. I just collected them." Then you take them out and they're all bent up and stuff. And you're like,
Yeah.
how did you not? I actually did play with the cards, but I used them in sleeves because
Mhm.
even back then I wasn't a heathen and I
Mhm.
actually had card sleeves and they had card sleeves back in the day. I don't know why people are pretending like sleeves didn't
Sleeves
exist.
existed.
They
Sleeves
existed
existed.
and little
I
kids
couldn't
used
convince
them.
my parents to buy sleeves. They were
So
like, "What's the point?" And I was like,
some
"Bro, it's like $1. Just buy me sleeves." And
I've
I have,
gotten cards laminated. I've
yeah,
found laminated cards in collections from parents like yours who are like, no sleeves. We're gonna laminate them ourselves.
dude. My parents were so anti cards. The only reason I had cards was because my aunt would buy them for me. So every time I'd spend the weekend at my aunt's house, she would buy me like a pack. And so like literally like the only things I own are from my aunt. My parents were very like Pokemon cards are dumb, it's a waste of money, go to school.
Was your aunt the younger sibling? Was she younger than your parents?
What's up?
Was your aunt younger than your mom or your dad?
No, I think she's
No,
older than them.
she was
Yeah.
just the cool one then. She was just
Yeah,
way
exactly.
cooler
She
because
was just the homie. Yeah.
I was gonna say, is she really young? She was like the cool young aunt who's like,
Nah, she's older than them. I think she was just like, yeah, they're kind of be mean to you, so I'll buy you stuff you like. You know what I mean?
my experience with Pokemon cards was my mom used to get them for me. Like I feel like the first time I experienced Pokemon was through the anime. I think it was through the anime, yeah. And so I was
Mm-hmm.
watching the cartoon and then I liked it. And so she came home with like Pokemon cards for me. And we had this like
Sheesh.
Pacific Islander like store. It was like it was called the Pacific Island store. And
Mm-hmm.
it had like, Asian foods and like seafood and like, exotic things.
Yeah.
You couldn't get it like Safeway or wherever. And we would go,
Mhm.
they had a little market there, and that's where we buy our Pokemon cards from. So it was
Yeah.
like, and so I would get Japanese like Jungle, Japanese Rocket. I'd get
Mhm.
that kind of stuff too, because they would have the Japanese as well as the English. And English was always more expensive than the Japanese.
Mhm.
So it was interesting because even back then English was more expensive. I guess
Dude,
it's the same. So
I took care of all my Japanese cards though, because in my head I was like, Japanese is way rarer, bro.
why did everyone think that? That was such a narrative. It was so funny. I thought that too. When you
I
had
know
Japanese
it's
cards,
crazy. I don't know.
it's because you couldn't read it and it was new and it was like
Yeah.
a few sets ahead. So you're thinking, whoa, this is like, I've never seen this before,
Hmm.
man. But
Nah, that shit was
then there was that
wild.
hard swing where people thought, oh no, Japanese is garbage. We don't want that.
Hmm.
What happened? Like,
I don't know, man.
it goes to show you
Time
though, the
changes
market really is
everything.
wrong a lot of the time. And you really got to just collect what you love. And
You have to.
it's important to really like stick to your convictions and like really appreciate what your gut's telling you, because
Hmm.
I feel like some of my best moves that I made would have been at the time considered like risky moves, but my gut was telling me to do it. And the fact that I went and followed that gut reaction, I have been burnt from it, but not as often as I feel like my gut has led me to I guess
Yeah.
success. So I think it's all about, if you feel confident in what you're dealing in, being able to like assess your own feelings and trust yourself is such a difficult, it's obvious, but it's also so difficult to actually apply.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I feel like intuition is everything. I feel like you just have to follow your intuition. And it's like your intuition, you need to like level up your intuition. So it's like you have to follow your intuition. You either lose, and if you lose, it teaches you something. And if you win, it teaches you something. It's like, I don't know, all my best decisions, they've been very spontaneous, and I'm like, oh, I need this. And of course there's that back feeling in your head where you're like, bro, like you feel it very strong. You're like, why are you doing this? This is so dumb. But it's like the moves where you just kind of do them because you really want to do them and you want to own the thing or like have the thing works out so good always. Not always. I take that back, but you know what I mean?
I know. So I feel like, well, yeah. So I agree. I totally agree. And I feel like adding to that, it's always the moves that I feel like I'm uncomfortable sharing. Like after I've done it, I'm sort of a little bit uncomfortable sharing it because I'm feeling like those are the moves that end up being my best moves. Where like a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, a year later, I'm like, wow, that was a slam dunk. Like thinking about it, why didn't I do that 10 times? But for some reason, like at the time, I was actually just discussing this with someone in my Discord earlier today.
Hmm.
We were saying, I was remembering back Shining Fate's release. Shining Fate's release as a store, someone who sold it, who got an allocation, who pre-sold a little bit and then sold it throughout the whole rise and fall. Shining Fates was a huge letdown. On
Hmm.
initial release, the hype was so big that the pre-sales were fantastic, but I did not take very many pre-sales because I was worried about my allocations, and I don't really generally do pre-sales. And B, I wanted to make sure that if the hype was good enough, I had enough that I could actually open it on my channel. And so
Yeah.
from a store's perspective, I pre-sold some to cover some of my costs at those sort of higher actualized prices that they were pre-selling for, which people
Yeah.
would call scalping, but it's just
Hmm.
market price. And
Yeah.
so I sold it that, a small portion of my position. And then on release, the set just tanked. And
Yeah. I
so
remember that.
it was really high the first week. It just tanked. And so I unloaded over the course of 6 months. I kept buying more Shining Fates and just unloading it and selling it at or below retail, basically, or just a little bit over just to make my margins.
Hmm.
And so really it felt like I was dumping it. And I could not wait for Shining Fates to rotate out and get into the next set, which was Battle Styles. You have no you don't know how excited I was to get into Battle Styles, and the market was. Battle Styles was hype. You were around. Battle Styles was hype though. People
Hmm.
don't like to talk about Battle Styles. They like to talk about it like it was hype, dude. The Urshifu was selling for $200. The blue Urshifu V alternate art, $200 on release. Someone bought one on the day of my opened one on the day of my stream, and we were looking for the Tyranitar, but the Urshifu was selling for more than the Tyranitar. He pulled that, sold it immediately for $200. And so like
Sheesh.
Battle Styles was hype. And so I was excited for Battle Styles after Shining Fates. And so I was dumping Shining Fates, and everyone else was, for like 6 months. And then eventually Shining Fates rotated out. They stopped giving us any reprints. It just stopped being talked about. People moved on to other things. You could always buy Shining Fates on the secondary market, but it stopped being in the main thing. So now, flash forward to where we are now, like almost a year later, my friend was just discussing in the Discord. He's like, bro, I would have bought all of that Shining Fates you're dumping now if, I had known you back then. I straight up told him, no, you wouldn't have. Yeah. I said, no, you would not have. It doesn't matter if we knew each other. I was selling to everyone, and everyone else is selling. I wasn't selling for like lower or higher than market. I was selling at market price. Nobody wanted Shining Fates. That's why I was calling being dumped. And it's always hindsight that's 2020, that when you have something, you say, oh, I would have bought X, Y, or Z if that. It's like, bro, no, you wouldn't have, because I know that because I was selling it and nobody was.
Yeah, dude. No. Exactly. It's like the whole people are like, oh, like, I wish I would have known in the 90s, I would have bought all these booster packs and all this stuff and all these cards. And it's like, yeah, bro.
Like, we all had our chance. We all had our chance.
Dude, I remember as a little kid, I was at Sears. They had a booster box of Legendary Collection. The packs were there. Like, they were in a fucking dollar. Like, you know what I mean? Like those clearance racks. The packs, I remember I walked over there because I was like, oh, they have Pokemon cards. And I went and looked at them. And they were like clearance, like 99 cents or like 1.99. Do you know what I mean? And I looked at them and I was like, oh, Legendary Collection, gross. I literally was like, these cards look fake. That's what, you know what I mean? I was like, I just put it, I honestly probably feel like I threw it back in there. Like I didn't even set it back down. I was just like, gross, and like walked off.
Perspective changes over time. So like, it's hard to tell. So I mean, that's why having these conversations is really a good thing, and having perspective is a good thing too. Because I mean, there's a time where these things were hot. Like people were going to divorce court to settle their Beanie Babies.
Yo, I love that picture. That picture is iconic.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, that's like the best thing about the 90s, the pictures like that. But that's a real thing, and it's like things get hot, things are not, trends. It's good to have these conversations, and it's like, this is why I think these podcasts about Pokemon cards and investing and like collecting are good to have, because like I hate when I hear these like short form 10-minute videos where it's just like, go invest in Pokemon, it all goes up over time. It's like
invest now. There's literally a thumbnail on my thing. It's like top 5 things you should invest in right now. And I'm like,
it's like, it's okay, but I just hate seeing it not in long form sometimes, because I think these things are so complex and they're so like nuanced in some regards that it really needs that long form at time to really discuss what's going on, because there's so many layers to what's going on. And like, I think about this stuff all day long. Like, this is literally what I think about all day long. It's my life. And like, I could still sit here and talk about it, longer and
we can talk about it forever. Like, we could talk about this. Like, what we're talking about right now, I could talk about for like hours.
Exactly. So like, it's good to have those conversations, I think.
Yeah, dude. The thing for me too is like, when I like invest though, I don't feel like I invest. Does that make sense? Like, I never buy in at market price. Like, I always try to when I get a card, I try to get it in like 1/4, 1/2 of market price. So just buy it so cheap that it's like, even if things do go down, you actually still take a dub no matter what happens in reality.
I feel like I have fallen to FOMO before, and I've bought from market price or above market price for things like, for example, the Amazing Rares. So on the Amazing Rares, I and Vivid Voltage opened 18 booster boxes on release to try to get the Chonkachu and get singles to sell as master sets. And I was breaking down singles, making master sets of the original set, except for the Rainbow Rares and like the full arts and stuff, but pretty much all the other cards, selling those for like, I think $200 or $300, which was ridiculous. And so I'd have like 7 or 8 master sets from opening all those boosters, and we still get the big singles and extra. So I was selling singles at that time. And it literally, like, the the Celebi out of 18 booster boxes, I pulled 2 of. two.
Hmm.
Well, like 7 or 8 of each of the other ones. It felt like a bunch of all the others. So I thought the Celebi had lower pull rates on release. And so what did I do? I went and bought up all of the Celebis on TCG Player on release that were like under whatever I thought $20 or whatever the number was. I think it was $20 is my number I was targeting. And so what are Celebis worth now? Tell me.
$2, 5? I don't know, dude.
Dollar. They're worth $1.50, I think.
Really?
So yeah, so
Jeez.
that goes to show you that even someone, who does this stuff, like I do this. I don't like this is my moneymaker. Like I do this allegedly because I'm good at it and because I can sustain. I've done it for longer than a year, so I guess I can do this. But like even I can make a big mistake like that. I speculated pretty hard. I don't know. I bought what I think 15 copies. So I didn't buy that. And there weren't that many because I thought, once again, when I saw the data there, I was seeing less Celebis. I thought the Celebi, not the Rayquaza or not the Jirachi, was going to be a better, card. So like I was thinking, oh shoot, there's 2 of these per booster box. These booster boxes are going to the moon right now because at that time Vivid Voltage was going to the moon. They weren't reprinting it. I was like, I want Celebi. Here we are. I have a stack of Celebis like that thick that are worth nothing. And I like the amazing rares though, and so I actually keep my baby shinies and amazing rares. I don't sell those. I just keep them, throw them back. It's not worth selling right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, honestly.
So like I'm curious sometimes what people think about stores like me just not selling everything immediately at market price, because I essentially I make decisions on my product based on how much I get and based on how much I believe is going to be out there or how much I'll be able to get restocked, I guess. And I wonder how people feel about that, because I bet you there's a small portion of the community that would feel like that's, as like a game store, it's my duty to like distribute this stuff out. Since I'm getting it for distributor prices, it's my duty to then redistribute it out just for MSRP, even if that's like lower than market, rather than making the decision of like holding it. Because for example, like this Fusion Strike that we're about to get dumped on the market, I'm going to buy some. I'm going to buy more Fusion Strike. I'm going to absorb. So I'm not buying that $11,000 deal. A, I don't work with Southern Hobby, so I don't have that deal available to me. But B, even if I did have that deal available to me, I wouldn't take it. What I would do is wait. Sorry, anyone who made this happen. I would have waited. Now, I'm sure people didn't know this was going to be offered to anyone, everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
I would wait until everyone got that deal and they took it, and they're dumping their product, and they didn't think that everyone would do it, because who in their right mind is gonna buy and not assume that some of those Fusion Strike boxes, 108, are going to get dumped on the market?
What do you think? What's your target floor, or like what's your target that you want to get them at?
I'll buy at $72. If I can buy them, if they start going below $72, I don't even care. I'll just keep buying as they go lower. My distributor price is $90, which is high, but I don't ship and I don't have credit card fees. I get direct, like it's almost like cash price. But it's because I pick up my cards from my distributor. I don't get them shipped to me because I'm so close. I'm 20 minutes away from my distributor. I have an in-person relationship with my sales rep, which is really beneficial to me, and that's why I can sit there and I will sit there and talk to him as long as he will let me, until he's like, hey Josh, I gotta go, man, so you gotta take off. I'm like, thank you so much, I'll see you next time. But yeah, so I have a different situation, but I buy at 90. So at $72 for Fusion Strike, I think not only is it a good set, I think it's a pretty darn good set. Like it's better than some of the other sets that have come out recently. And I also think not a lot of it is being speculated on, not because it's never gone up. And so it's hard to speculate for people to buy into a product that's never really done this. All that Fusion Strike has done is this. It has not gone up. So like, I don't think a lot of people are sitting on it. And to me, that's a good thing, because it means that the people who do want it either have the wherewithal to actually follow through with their plan and wait for all of it to get flushed out of the market and then bring it to market, or they really want it and they like the product like me, and they're like, hey, I like Gengar, I like Mew, I like the alternate arts. I think the pink booster box looks pretty cool. I think it's a really, it's at $72. Like, that's a floor price that's like lower than distribution. So let's just put it this way. If the booster boxes dip below $72, I think the market and the hobby is in serious trouble. But I don't think it will. I think they'll get dumped, and I think they'll go down to like $80, like Chilling Reign is.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it'll be, because people will be like, that's too juicy. That's too juicy not to take. Like,
it sounds too good. Yeah, exactly.
Like under $100 for a booster box. How can you ask for much better than that? Like, that's greedy. It's really greedy.
Dude, at 70, we'll see what's up.
So, but I anticipate a lot getting dumped, and that depends on how much of this actually gets offered and how many of these, these stores actually buy that $11,000 deal. Because to be honest, 24 Evolving Skies booster boxes, if I was a store and I was struggling to get product because all I could get was Battle Styles or Fusion Strike from my distributor, and they suddenly offered me this big package where I could get some more high-end, more desirable Sword and Shield era products, but I had to take some Fusion Strike, I would say, fine, I'll take it, but I'm just gonna dump this right away. Like, I'll take it, but I'm not gonna like it. And so, like, I think that's what's gonna end up happening. And I mean, and maybe stores will have that foresight to say we shouldn't do this because it's not gonna help us.
Yeah.
But to be honest, they're gonna think, oh, if I do this before store X, Y, or Z, then I can get in before the drop, and I'm going to be more clever than my neighbor is. Everyone always thinks they're more clever than the next guy or the next person, the next store. Everyone thinks that they have the next hot idea. And I hate to break it to you, but most of the time, you don't. Most of the time, someone's thought about it before. But if in those cases that they haven't, though, that's when you need to not tell anyone and just do it.
Dude, exactly.
That's about trusting your gut right there.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, so do you think we should call it? I think we've been talking for, I still want to keep talking, but I'm like, I think we're at like the 2-hour mark.
I think we're 2 hours. I think 2 hours is probably good. We could keep talking, but I think we have plenty of other podcasts we can make too. So we'll let's go ahead and do our outro here, because that's a good call. We could literally talk about Modern and that kind of stuff all day long.
I like your perspective on Modern. I need to be more involved in Modern, so it's good for me. And it's nice to talk to someone who is like not invested in Modern. Like you literally do it. So it's like, and it's like,
and so like I do, and I both do Modern and I'm invested in it because I believe in a lot of these sets that are coming out right now. I'm keeping cases of it. Like, full transparency, I have 3 cases of Vivid Voltage. I have 2 cases of Evolving Skies, and I wish I had more Evolving Skies. I just can't not dip into it. People want it so bad that, like, I can't look at my 2 or 3 cases. I'm like, they're gonna reprint this thing. I was like, if I am this desperate for it and I'm like holding it back and like not wanting to sell it, but I'm still selling it, there's people who are like paper hands who just don't believe in the product at all, who are just looking at it and capitalizing, who are selling it too. So I believe we're due for a reprint. I really do, on Evolving Skies.
Okay. But yeah,
I have no proof of that, and I have no evidence except for what the market needs. And I think historically Pokemon is good at offering us what we need.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I was curious. Well, because I like Modern a lot. I really do. I'm just waiting for the right moment, and I feel like the moment's like kind of there. You know what I mean? So
it's here, really, and it's almost getting away. I don't want to say this because I don't want to but the floor I think we hit was maybe a month ago. I think I was buying Evolving Skies booster boxes at $100 a booster box, where they wanted 110, but I can negotiate by buying in bulk 100 a box.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't bid it from my distributor, but I was buying on the secondary market from stores trying to dump it when there was a lot of it out there. And so Evolving Skies was 110. Now it's closer to 130. It's on its way up, and it has no downward pressure on it right now. So like that set you might want to wait until the next reprint. and Vivid Voltage is done. That it's on its way up unless they reprint it again, which I don't know if I see that. That one's going to probably 140 soon. It's 120
Okay.
right now, but I could see it going creeping up. Um, like Darkness Ablaze, even that's 125 right now. I don't agree with that, but that's where it's at. I don't think Darkness Ablaze is a strong set. It's the weakest, in my opinion, of all of Sword and Shield, including Rebel Clash. I think Darkness Ablaze might be only a little stronger than Rebel Clash. Rebel Clash is weaker than Darkness Ablaze, but I think Darkness Ablaze is pretty weak. So even those sets though, Rebel Clash is still like $180 a booster box. So who cares how bad a set it is?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's Rebel Clash is very expensive right now. Sheesh. It was considered by many to be the worst booster box, and so nobody held it, and so nobody wanted
it. That makes sense.
It's like Fusion. It's like, I mean, I don't think it's like Fusion Strike because Fusion Strike has so much more of it. But at the same time, I think people have the same feeling, and I think that Fusion Strike's a better set, a much better set.
I think Fusion Strike is a nice set.
So, like, if you're looking at Rebel Clash at 200 or 180, I would be looking at 2 Fusion Strike boosters at that point.
Yeah,
I would be like, I would rather have 2 of these booster boxes of Fusion Strike rather than 1 Rebel Clash booster box. If it were me, that is.
Aren't the pull rates really bad in Fusion Strike 2? I mean, I don't know if it's just a meme, but okay. That's what I
Horrible. No, it's real. The other sets, like Evolving Skies, were like 7 to 12 hits, so it varied, but it was usually higher 7 to 12. Fusion Strike is like 5 to 8.
Okay.
So it's really low. Like a good box is like 8 V cards or something, which isn't very much.
How do you think? So you think the general? I don't know, because it's so hard to gauge the general opinion on things sometimes. But it's like, you think the general consensus amongst the general population is they're over that whole? You remember everyone was like, "Oh, I'm gonna hold everything sealed and I'm gonna do this." Do you think the everyday person is still feeling that way? Do you know what I mean?
I hope not.
Because there was a point, because I used my local Facebook group as like a gauge of where the general like economy is, I guess. And there was a point where every day people would be like adding to the sealed collection, adding to the sealed collection, adding to the sealed collection. And then now it's at the point, I've seen a lot of posts where people are like, why didn't you guys tell me this stuff was going to be printed like crazy? And then they're like bummed. And then they're like, all my money went down. And I'm like, so I don't know. I just don't like, wait, I don't know where the general, because I know we have a different perspective because we are in it and we talk about it so much. So I'm curious about where the general perspective is right now.
So from my perspective and what I see from the people that I sell to, which is biased because these are people who are obviously like invested, enjoy the hobby, who are like in a small streamer's stream and buying cards from them and interacting. I'm not LeonHart, I'm not Real Breaking Nate. They could go to them if they wanted to, but for some reason they go. So like I might be a little biased, but it does seem like there's still general interest, like the general, and it doesn't feel like it's just people who want to stonk it and like want it to be, they like the hobby. Like I think that generally people like the hobby right now. And I've said this, I've screamed it from like the top of the mountain. It feels like that. I think that right now is the best time to be a Pokemon collector that we've ever had in the hobby. I think the last 2 years, there were times where it was some of the worst time to be a Pokemon collector in the Pokemon hobby. But I think that right now is one of the best times though. And so like, I think that Modern is so accessible. It's so varied because there are aspects of Modern that if you only wanted to invest and collect, you can do that. Like you can be that sealed collector, that ultra premium collection chaser, that PSA 10 Modern Umbreon, gold Snorlax stonker. You can be that person. Or you could just be that person who wants to buy a booster box for $100 and rip it and put it in their binder and maybe buy a couple singles and even maybe play the game. God forbid you play the game. But, I think that's accessible for a broad range. And I think that if you were to start making things too premium and putting like really sought after chasing cards like $500 $1,000 numbered cards in, it might take away from that, or it might exacerbate where I think the last couple of years where some of the worst time in the hobby to be a Pokemon collector were. I think there were some dark days, not just talking about like the pandemic and all that stuff, but like during the hobby, I think there's some really dark days during those times when the hobby was booming. Like I made a lot of money during that time. And I know that a lot of people had a lot of like trouble during that time getting cards. And sometimes I think about that and it's like, man, that does sort of feel bad. And I understand where people might feel like anger towards that or hostility towards that. But like, full disclosure, like I've been a business since before the pandemic, basically. And like I became a full-fledged Pokemon seller like as my full-time gig during the pandemic. Like that's when I went full-time, but I was selling it before and paying taxes beforehand. So it's like, do people like me, should we have been rewarded by being in and like capitalizing on it at the expense of some newbies who like maybe weren't in it and had to pay those actualized higher prices? And now those people are mad because that investment has gone down. I understand that too. Like I would understand anyone who said they were mad at that, but I don't know. But obviously I'm going to feel that that's a little unfair, but I do think it would be a little bit of an unfair assessment, right? So we do have to spend one podcast talking about the ethics of selling. That is something that I actually started this podcast for, was because I think that people don't talk about the ethics of buying and selling as much. And like, it's just not so transparent because there's not as much incentive to be transparent about it. But it's something that I really like to talk about and I would like to discuss more at length. So we are going to have a dedicated episode, I think, for that sometime.
Let's talk about it. But yeah, let's call it for tonight. I gotta go, honestly, too.
Yeah, I'm going to be streaming tonight, so I probably shouldn't be too late here in the podcast. So okay, yeah, time to go open some packs. Man, I haven't opened a Pokemon pack except for that base set 2 in over a week. It feels weird. I'm going to open like over 100 packs right now to make up for it, I'm sure, tonight. But
dude, that's dope.
But yeah. All right. So here, well, everyone, we're gonna call it there. So any of you guys listening in, we are going to be making a new YouTube channel directly for this podcast. It's gonna be on my YouTube for the time being, but we're gonna switch those first 2 episodes over to the new YouTube as well. It'll just be called Cardboard Hands. We'll also be on Stitcher. We're gonna be on Apple Podcasts. We're gonna be on all of those other platforms, Spotify, hopefully all those places. So we're just gonna make the thumbnail and get all that, our ducks in a row for it. But thank you everyone for tuning in. If you stayed in for the 2.5 hours that we are at now, you guys are the real goats. Like straight up, you have little goat turd poops and you eat grass and you are in a pasture, and we really appreciate you. So thanks so much. My name is Josh from the Old Card Shop. If you guys can go find my YouTube, we're already on the YouTube here, but if you're on the Cardboard Hands, click like and subscribe, and yeah, we'll be back with the next one soon.
All right, dope. Sounds good. Laters. All right, cool.